on my shoulder. And this past year I got so much older. Looking back over my life, spent most of it tongue-tied. Now I'm wishing I had more time, listening to you speak your mind. Now I'm thinking about her every day on my mind, a typical way. Are you a life force? I'm thinking about her every day on my mind, a typical way. Yeah. Are you a life force? Drinking coffee black as iron, and I couldn't be much higher without falling out of my chair. And I've been so numb for so many years. Now I'm thinking about her every day on my mind, a typical way. Are you a life force? I'm thinking about her every day on my mind, a typical way. Are you a life force? And it's so easy to be blinded by the light, to feel lonely in the night. Oh, it's blowing in the breeze, baby. I got dust in my eyes and rust in my smile. I'll be back come next spring. Won't you say you love me then, by and by? Looking back over my life, spent the most of it tongue-tied, pulling my belt tight, just me and the stars tonight. 2 fingers in a tight line, keep my head above the alpine. And I'm wishing I had more time, just listening to her speak her mind. And now I'm thinking about her every day on my mind, a typical way. Are you a life force? Thinking about her every day on my mind. I like to go there soon, to a place where when it rains, they call it a monsoon. Under skies that could cry, pray out of their eyes. Said underneath my father's arms, and I listened to her sing. What she said, you don't have to be someone, you don't have to be someone, you don't have to be someone. Oh, you don't have to be someone, you don't have to be someone, you don't have to be someone to be everything. Sister Crow wheeled round to find myself in a different state of mind. Growled a few notes to clear my throat and then joined in kind. Found my words and then I found my way. Sister Crow wheeled around again, and this time we all said, you don't have to be someone, you don't have to be someone, you don't have to be someone to be everything.
Yeah.
Yaha! Cars rattle this when they go by. Driving through West Virginia, I ain't ever been much thinner. Got this chip on my shoulder. This last year I got so much older. Drinking coffee black as iron. I ain't ever been much higher. I'm wishing that more time. Listen to her sing. But now I'm thinking about every day on my mind the typical way. Are you alive, folks? I'm thinking about every day on my mind in a typical way. Are you alive, folks? Bye, bye. Oh, bye, bye. Bye, 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 bye. Whoa. Something that nobody knows. Her eyes are as big as a bubbly toes. On the feet of a queen in the house of the coast. Feet are infected with topos and da 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 da. Da 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 da. Said I was in the lounge at the DLG when this pretty girl came in. She sat next to me. Never seen nobody look the way she did. Well, she did and she does and she does again. When you move like a jellyfish, rhythm is nothing. You go with the flow, you don't stop. When you move like a jellyfish, and it's nothing. You go with the flow, you don't stop, babe. So if you do, do it good. But if you do, Passing of the time, old familiar ways. Roses bloom in the spring, fighting back the winter's cold. I'm in Chicago and I see do the same sometimes I'm told. Told tough times for dreamers. They must be most everything. Oh, it's tough times for dreamers. Divided by the in-betweens, we lost our way and lost our things. Tough times for dreamers. Oh, when all things fall apart. But it's tough times for dreamers. You know we turn to all this time to get to work. It's time to go. No more in the cold. Time to get it done. It's time to sing a song. It's time to pay the phone. It's time to prove them wrong. Say, it's tough times for dreamers. With or without the broken heart. What's up, John? It's tough times for dreamers. shit ended 16 years ago. It's guitar. Inside, outside.
It's guitar outside. It's guitar outside.
Lie you. I gotta listen to that one. I don't know, man. The King
What
of the
song is that?
Spring is probably.
Guitar outside!
Oh, is it recording?
Yes. Yes, that's beautiful. It's recording.
See here, but my flowing locks in the wind.
My flowy locks.
Young Simba.
Ah, let's go.
I'm just gonna pretend I can do the intro.
Okay. Does it just start with, are we starting just right at the verse?
Oh man, look at my life. I'm alive like you were. let's start at the verse. I'm gonna play it on an instrumental.
Shit.
Oh man, take a look at my life. I'm alive like
I need someone to love me the whole day through. Oh, one look in my eyes and you can tell it's true. Lullabies, look in your eyes, run around the same old town. Doesn't mean that much to me, mean that much to you. I've been first and last, look at how the time goes past. Now I'm all alone at last, rolling home to you. Oh, magic. Where's my note?
I can't hit it. You gotta hit that.
I think I'm trying to go higher. I'm trying to go. Trying to go high. Okay.
Oh
man, take a look at my life.
I've got it
That
fucked up
doesn't
now.
seem right.
Oh man, take a look at my life. I'm alive like
I need someone to love me the whole day through. Oh, one look in my eyes and you can tell it's true. Damn, that was beautiful.
And on camera.
Yeah. So you can edit that, but or it's just like, that's all the shit I think people, I would enjoy seeing that.
Yeah.
Maybe just because it's me, but still.
Real ass people fucking things up.
Yeah.
Everyone turns the camera on when things come out perfect. And it's like learning, getting better, living, loving, vibing. Guitar outside.
Guitar outside. This is spring.
Whoop. Wow. It's a song about a place and a bird. This place. See the forest through the trees. I like to go there soon, to a place where when it rains, they call it a monsoon. Under skies that could cry, gray out their eyes, set underneath my father's arms. Heard my brother sing. You don't have to be someone. 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 You don't have to be someone to be everything. Circle around again to find clearer skies in mind. Growled a few notes to clear my throat, and two joined in kind, singing out, you don't have to be someone. 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 You don't have to be someone to be everything.
What song was that? Guitar outside!
Oh, is it recording?
Yeah, act natural.
Okay. I'm gonna see here, but my flowing locks in the wind.
You look good. Young Simba.
Shimba!
I'm just gonna pretend I can do the intro.
Okay. Does it just start with, are we starting just right at the verse?
Oh man, look at my life. I'm alive like you were. There's so many these. Yeah, let's start at the verse. I'm gonna play it on an instrumental. Oh man, look at my life, I'm alive like you.
I need someone to love me the whole day through. Oh, one look in my eyes and you can tell it's true. lullabies, look in your eyes, run around the same old town. Doesn't mean that much to me, mean that much to you. I've been first and last, look at how the time goes past. Now I'm all alone at last, rolling home to you. Oh, me. Where's my note?
I can't hit it. You gotta hit that.
I think I'm trying to go higher. I'm trying to go. Trying to go high. Okay. Oh man, take a look at my life.
I've got it
That
fucked up
doesn't
now.
seem right.
Oh man, take a look at my life. I'm alive.
I need someone to love me the whole day through. Oh, one look in my eyes and you can tell it's true. Damn, that was beautiful.
And on camera.
Yeah. So you can edit that, but or it's just like, that's all the shit I think people, I would enjoy seeing that.
Yeah.
Maybe just because it's me, but still.
Real ass people fucking things up.
Yeah.
Everyone turns the camera on when things come out perfect. And it's like learning, getting better. Cars around us when they go by.
Driving through West Virginia, I ain't ever been much thinner. Got this chip on my shoulder. This last year I got so much older.
eToro is a social trading platform with over a dozen cryptocurrencies and the ability to copy traders and portfolios, including one that
Never been much higher.
Little problems here so far straight off the bat with my screen. So let me just repair those.
Listen to her sing, but now I'm thinking about every day on
First off, I'm here, huge and visible. Oh gosh, oh goodness gracious. That's so big and visible. Let me just change that slightly, if you don't mind. I'll make the background less visible. Let's just see, what's this like? Background removal. Let's just do that. How about that? Now we're chilled out. Thanks, by the way, as well for joining me. And this is my office that we're in right now. My office is my home. And because as an independent trader, I operate from home, and a lot of us will do as well. A lot of us will do. One of the things I have to do today after the show is go and attend an AGM. It'll happen online, so going digitally to attend an AGM to discuss the building that I live in, because the neighbors are all falling out, and the management staff in the building have quit. That's crazy. The company that does the factoring. This is like an extra company that would organize insurance, etc., for the building. They've quit. It's all complete. It's like it's market crash. It's black swan market crash conditions in like the building that I live in. So that's something I'm gonna have to do today. Wish me luck with that one. Hey, good stuff, brother. Coming in from Bad Mama Jamma. Merrick Sanders giving us a hey, waving between Pam Capes, love you, and Homer. Oh, Homer's ghost. What a lovely chat. Evening, Benkei, and evening to the rest of the entire Asian markets. Let's have a wee talk as well.
seen him lounge at the DLG when this pretty girl came in. She sat next to me. Never seen nobody move the way she did. Well, she did and she does and she does again. When you move like a jellyfish, rhythm is nothing. You go with the flow, you don't stop. When you move like a jellyfish, rhythm is nothing. You go with the flow, you don't stop. So if you do, gotta do it good. But if you do,
Badland Apex 12,000-pound winch, engineered in the USA and built with premium components. A powerful series wound motor and hardened steel gear tray delivers a fast line speed for quick recovery. Built to be the most waterproof winch on the market and includes a wireless remote with a 50-foot range. Badland Apex.
Higher, you know, you can see this line went up a bit and it's sitting there about the middle of that kind of zone, the bit where the indicator is. You can see that now it's at right down towards the lower end of it, just as a brief at a glance thing showing us that these movements in these candles are smaller than the movements we had over here. So essentially you can boil it down like that. RSI over here as well as the other one that I've got on. You can see it's got a green line on it. Maybe I'll move that back to white just to have it be more similar to the other one for sort of stylistic aesthetic purposes here. You can see that we've just kind of bounced off of the bearish control zone, and that's where we want to see ourselves staying outside of. So those are the two indicators down below in the charts. That's the chart itself. I like to say CHERT. And we have, it is coming to 1/4 ding ding ding, time to do squats. Okay, let's do some squats together. How am I? Do I get cut off on the camera when I'm here? Let's just go back let's just go back to the big scene for the squats just real quick. The big scene. Oh, I've disappeared completely on that one. That's not good. What about that? Oh, look at this. Right, let's do squats in here in Chatland. In the ether. Ooh, floating in space. Woo. Let's do some. 15, by the way. We're going to do 15 squats, right? 15. We're always improving here, week by week. And just as a quick shout out as well, I've said this all the way along since we started doing squats on the channel, and I appreciate that there may still be some people who have still never begun to do them, and that's okay. Don't worry, it's not like it's too late. It's never too late. You can absolutely start now. You don't have to do all 15, just do what you're comfortable with. Indeed, if you want to do 30, go ahead and do 30. But just to encourage everybody that even though you can see a crowd of people running away into the distance ahead of you, getting better at one thing or another in their lives, be it technical analysis, be it just being healthy, or whatever it happens to be, don't worry, it doesn't preclude your participation amongst that herd. Really, it stretches way back behind you too. Be the example to the others who haven't started yet, and inspire them. Okay, let's do this. Okay, I'm totally not visible. 1 second. Hey. Five. Hold. 5. Hold. That's a total of 10, I think. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Last one, make it a good one. Oh. Doing squats every day on my mind, a typical.
While he's
Are you a squat force?
getting ready to do that, I'm getting ready to run some Call of Duty.
That drink is disgusting. That's really disgusting, that drink. Tastes like Red Bull, which is also disgusting. Let's all admit it. I think everybody thinks so. Mmm.
Are you watching me, Rocky?
You don't drink it because you like the flavor. Nobody does. Well, you kind of like the flavor bringing you back. Why am I talking about that? Let's go back to space.
It's because you watching me, huh? Okay. Just kidding.
Captain's log. Trading date.
Trading date.
25102021. The stocks have been working against us recently. Spies hitting all-time highs. Again. While our stocks haven't been hitting all-time highs. Forces have come in from outside. Spying up SPACs. Dumping down SPACs. It's hectic out there. It's hectic. But we can cope with it. Okay, so I have this chart up and it's a bit messy, right? Now we're going to be keeping things going, and thanks so much. Thanks so much for joining me today. You are an outcroptician. What that means is that you have your own independent mind and you use it effectively. Well done. Thanks for doing that around us. We all appreciate the vote of confidence. Now, as we do the same thing. Now, I talk about stocks. It should integrate well with what you're looking at. I don't dictate to you your opinions. You have your own. Let's see if there's anything that's jumping at us with regards to some stocks. I'm going to need you to suggest the stocks to look at because I haven't done any screening this morning, and I'm not sure what we're looking at in terms of pre-market stuff. I can certainly take a look around some of the common haunts. Go check out check out the typical, the usual suspects. Can do some of that. Yeah. Chainlink going along nicely last couple of days. Indeed it is. Whoa. I'm watching my channel as predicted, although my volume was off at the time. Rocky. Or as Sasha would say, Rocky! She's a nut job though, don't listen to her. Right, so talking about stuff that can split opinions, right? You've got this one, DWAC. Now, we know about stuff. I say what? We know that opinions can be divided about stuff. We know this, right? This happens all the time. And we know that then, of course, when emotions come into play, that there's that it can push things a lot further than maybe they otherwise would be. Emotions heighten everything. So when heightened emotions heighten everything even more. And this is one that would be like that, right? Now, personally, it's probably worth it's not actually that worth it, but just for kind of, so everybody can know and everything. I don't really identify with a place on the political spectrum in America, really, because I think that, especially just now, that there's that really all I really want is for people to be truthful and honest. And I think that just across the board, there's so many truthful and honest people, and so many liars, just wearing different colors. It's hard to know, politically in any country or in the world. I think there's a massive distrust at the minute, and there has been. Now, but I also want to veer away from anything that's popularist or populism, that sort of that ideological sort of fixated ideology where suddenly you're more right than everybody else. I think that it's important to always remember that, or to remember, especially in times where there's a lot of kind of partisan feelings out there, that really, your opinion, my opinion, everybody's opinion is no more important or worth more or anything than anybody else's opinion. So like, there's no elevation of one side or the other. But we know that in heightened emotion conditions, as we are experiencing globally and have been for quite a while, with the emotions perhaps suspended even after Trump left office in America, to then be up to now for a lot of people expressing it perhaps through the agency of buying and selling stocks, that this could be affected by that sort of thing. Okay, so this is something to be aware of. And from a technical point of view, it's also probably worth pointing out that, while it's very hard to see on the larger timeframes because of the parabolic and fast-moving nature of this stock over the last wee while, that we really, we're in dangerous territory with regards to this being a top. Okay, and if it is a technical top and it wants to push down, the crushing effect of this gap could obviously be significant for us, and then it'd be looking down towards that $46 region to close out that gap, just to kind of neutralize that emotion. You know, in the sense of like you and your girlfriend are having a little argument over here about something fairly trivial. Like you really should stop wearing your socks in bed. Oh, you should stop wearing your socks in bed. Oh, but I like wearing my socks in bed. It keeps my feet warm because sometimes you steal the duvet and then my feet get cold. Like, why do you bring up me stealing the duvet? I was just talking about your socks. Yeah, well, maybe there's, it's just that we have these frustrations. But what do you mean? Why are you bringing up all this other stuff? I didn't mean it like that. You're always doing this. Look, oh my God. Now we're having a huge argument, and all it really is about is whether or not you wear your socks in bed. It's like, well, no, there's more to this than whether or not I wear my socks in bed. Actually, look, this is analogous of a hundred string of problems, actually, and we need to talk about these things, and maybe we should do it now. and then obviously then you can neutralize out this thing, and eventually you get back to that clouded migraine of post argument where it's like, look, okay, right, you maybe you're right, I shouldn't wear my socks in bed. I do admit it's not actually something that I want to do, and I'm with you on that page there. And like, okay, and it isn't, I don't mean to steal the duvet. I'm sleeping at the time. I'm like, okay, I love you too. All right, so this can happen, right, in emotionally charged environments. Now I think that's maybe something to talk about. Fun price targets for today, please, says Braveheart 619. Hello, Braveheart 619. They can take our lives.
You're gonna watch opening and then play a couple games.
Take our fundum. Funware Inc. Funware. It's a whole lot of fun. Prizes to be won. Stick it up your bum. Right. Fun. Stick it up your bum. Right. So this is Fundum. They despite the song there that I was saying, they don't actually make dildos, right? As you can see here, massive increase in their price without a massive amount of dildos being in there. So as you can tell, they're not actually a dildo manufacturer. They must make gaps instead. They must just make gaps. That must be what they do. Looking at their charts over here. Right, so, right. Fundum, yes, it's a whole lot of fun. Prizes to be won. Funny, fun. Yes, stick it up your bum. So, this is the new. Welcome to a new era, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new era. Price target on fun. $1.05. Let's just because you might not be able to trade down to, depending on how you're thinking about things, let's call it $1.06. That's my target on it. Now, is that realistic? It's hard to know, right? It's hard to know. But welcome to a new era of technical analysis on the show, where things are a heck of a lot more simple for everybody. And thank you so much for making it through the together with me the crazy period of the last 22 months or so of highly complex technical analysis, which is really sort of like PhD level, extremely deep and all that. To the point where we've actually managed to create an indicator in the community which can tell us where things are going to the exact penny without having to look beyond this. Now, this I would encourage everybody out there to be patient for a wee bit who's currently using this indicator, and I will put it all together and release it as a indicator should I be able to, which is a premium locked indicator on TradingView, and then add people to it who give people a sort of period of, I don't know, a week or something to get in touch and get added to the list for using it, and then afterwards start selling the thing. I think I'll sell it for $1,000 a year access, so that'll be how we go with that one. Anyway, we've done that together, and well done to all of us for it. On this particular stock, we've had a massive movement up, and it's left us with this target that's way down below. And these don't have to be filled. I have to make this very, very clear, because we've had a lot of discussion with this recently, and we do tend to find that they get filled 100% of the time. That is the normal tendency, but there are instances where that doesn't happen. And I'll just show you one of them just now over here on, for example, the Bitcoin chart. Now, wouldn't be a Rocky Crop show if I didn't try to move the charts at least once with the drawing tool enabled instead of the movie doodads, movie scoobly doos. So going on over here to the, got to like the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, so we can get back enough in the past to be able to see stuff. Now, what am I looking to here? What's the dates on this? We're going to go back to about 2018 on this one, or is it 2019? Can't remember off the top of my head right now where it is that I'm looking for on this 2020. Not back far enough yet. So I'm looking back to find one of these big old doesn't get filled low down the bottoms regions for us to look to, and I'm not seeing it. You know, is it the hour chart that I need to go onto? It might be the hourly chart. Here is not it. Here is not it. When was that? That was December 17. Yeah, it must be the hourly chart. So right. So let me just kind of go back enough here to get to see what's going on. Excuse me, sorry. Right. So there's examples in the past. This will take me a minute to get. As I scroll back of these not being satisfied. What time was this? Was this 23rd of March 2020? Well, I suppose here's an example from much more recently that's not been filled in. Okay, down here at this low, just before we went up and rocketed off towards the top side. So it can absolutely happen. There's a lot of things that we'll be discussing about this and the dynamics of this thing over the next wee while as we focus on it a bit more. So it's worth pointing these things out. And typically, if you're going to see one of these, then it's going to be in extreme points in markets where things have moved away from them. Now, that doesn't mean that it's all over. And I can show you as well in terms of the Bitcoin chart examples of that. Because, yeah, let's just go back to an example from when there was a low which didn't get covered out here. So would that one be it? No, that's too late in the game. Is this as far back as the charts go? Right. Let's have a look here. This is 19. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it doesn't. So it doesn't mean that it's necessarily all over. So I'll just pop a horizontal ray on top of this old target that we had. Now, for people who are new here, you'll be looking at that indicator thinking, "What the hell is it?" And for people who've been here for quite a while, you'll be looking at the indicator thinking, "Oh my goodness, Rocky's changed the Rocky Outcrop flash to being on the charts and making it more visible." Or else maybe you haven't put two and two together yet. But that's right, well done. If that's what you're thinking. And a shout out to Marty for helping out with this here for us. Now, if I just take off the auto button actually, so I can show you this price point without the charts moving up the way. And just scroll on over, keeping an eye out for that pink line, which may or may not be visible to you, because a lot of the lines are kind of red looking. Anyway, here we have it. You can see that one that was left on there and previously and hadn't been filled did actually get filled in, right? So just zooming on in here, that's the pink line that came from that previous target, that previous one, you know. And as you can see here, where's my mouse hiding at? Yeah, here. As you can see here, we did eventually get that target. So I'll just can just go back again real quick, so just in case you don't remember. Actually, you know, because that line's pink, I do appreciate that it's hard to see on your screens when you're a different way. So big white line there makes it nice and obvious to keep your eyes on. So that's easier lining up there with that target up there. So it's not to say it's all over again, but it's just to point out things along the way, like the prices up here being being more than 100% higher. You know, they'd gone up a whole more than 100% by the time that they'd actually dropped back down to where they were before. Now that's not the end of the story as well, in terms of, like, you know, for instance, over here you've got different little you know, other examples of when, you know, this line kind of stops putting out saying, hey, look, you know, maybe we'll wait on this one or whatever. You can see that it actually does eventually come back. So is that an example of there being ones left on there from that may never get filled in? Well, it could be. It could be that we never see Bitcoin prices going there again. It could be. Or it could be that they go there. Now, there's another thing as well, and let me just bring up the Binance chart so we can have a quick look at this one. And I'll check that chart that you're suggesting, Katie Babes, in a second. Oh, markets have opened. I haven't even realized. How silly of me. What am I looking for here again, though? There's a bit the Binance chart. Yeah, which one's Binance? Gemini, Coinbase, Bitfinex, Bitstamp. Gemini, Coinbase, Bitfinex, Bitstamp. Oh, do I not actually have the Binance one saved on there? Oh, how handy then. Binance, no, BTC, USDT. It's Binance, BTC, USDT. Oh, wait a minute. I'm on the Binance chart? I'm confused. It's just squeeze confused. Oh, it's only in America. It was Binance US. Yes, there was interesting news. Jimmy was telling me about it. Binance US dropped to $8,000, filling in a couple of those gaps. And I don't know what the dynamic will be with regards to the sort of the underlying theoretical narrative and reasoning behind this one for that one. Got a message coming in here from Kitty Debs. Check SBet daily 4 and 1 hour, your DMI flashing, but there was a stock split at the end of July. Does it matter to flashes at all? Well, let's look at the dynamic on that before I answer. But I would say that that, you know, if the flash happened after the split, which you were kind of suggesting perhaps, then no. Well, there's a split. That's the 1 hour. For DMI's flashing. Yes. Flashing, ladies and gents. This visualization of this indicator will make this a heck of a lot easier for people to understand things as we go forward as well, having it up on the charts. I've given it a hell of a lot of sort of theoretical reasoning. And yeah, so just doing a lot of theoretical reasoning on this one recently, talking about it, but not actually, you know, being able to visualize that so easily on the charts at the time. We're seeing here that it has flashed, but that there is nothing left unfilled immediately on these. There's the flash in many ways works like this. That's a shoe. That might not be so clear. I'll make it into a high heel. A platform boot. That doesn't make it any clearer, does it? Let me see. I can make it into a boot. Right. I can make it into a boot. This will make it clearer. I'm not an amazing artist, right? But there's a boot. So now we know that that's a boot. It's easy to draw boots. You just have to kind of think of Italy and go for it. Now, what happens with the DMI gap is that you take Sicily and you put it inside. You get a stone and you put it inside your boot, right down here into where your foot is. That's what happens when you see one of these flashes. And really, you know, when this happens to you as you're walking along the road, you know yourself. Like, so often what you'll do is you'll feel, oh, I've got something in my shoe. You think to yourself, stop. You take your shoe off immediately and you empty out the stone, and then you keep walking. You don't go another 10 meters. You don't. you think, "Ah, there's something in my shoe," you just stop, like right away. That's what we all do. Sometimes the markets don't. Sometimes they don't take that out of their shoe. Okay, sometimes they don't. And when that happens, I'll got this indicator that'll highlight it for you. It could be along these sorts of lines. You could have seen something happen like over here. The flash, instead of ending here where it ended, say it ended just here, then it wouldn't have taken the stone out of the shoe. As we can see, the prices didn't come back to that point, and you'd have this area shaded in up above saying, "Look out, because sooner or later the prices are going to realize that they have to take that stone out of their shoe. They have to, and the only way to do it is to go back to is to go back to that price point. So that's so now this is going to become a lot clearer to people as we move forward. As we move forwards with all of that, do you understand that? Do you understand that analogy? Was that picture clear? Let me just read in the chat so make sure everybody. Best people come from Superstock, says TradeSpot. That's cool. That's cool. That's TradeSpot saying that. That's awesome. That's good. We're grateful to you, TradeSpot and Rocky Outcrop, says the shadow of a Lepton. Oh, Lepton, thanks so much. Alex saying, yeah, TradeSpot, I think you had 2 posts hanging out in the hot for a while. I've got no idea what that means. That's cool, though. Beautiful boot, says Noller. Excellent. Nice one. Why does it look different on mine? That's strange. That's strange. You talking about... you talking about... I can only imagine that you're talking about Kevin Murphy hair conditioner, and it'll be because my hair type's just a different type from yours, Katie Babes. Like on me, it looks like this, but I've got extremely dry hair to begin with, so maybe that explains it. I can't actually don't actually figure it out. What you're talking about there. Definitely DMC17, definitely a lot of love for Scottish TA on Super Stonk, which says a lot because most of them don't believe TA works. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Well, TA works. TA works. It works for us. We don't work for TA. That's right, it works for us. Say hello to your new employee. Treat it kindly, treat it right, treat it with respect. Okay? Like, TA isn't your slave. Okay, TA works for you in a way, and you work for TA. You know, meet it halfway, and you'll have a fantastic relationship. But yeah, like I say, TA works. It works for us. It works for you, and it works for me. Right, great, nice one. What happened here? Somebody put in a wee dono. Randall Sec 20. Thanks for the sexy sec. The hell is going on with AMC? Dang low. Okay, yeah. Let's go check it out. AMC, the place to be, with my friends looking at TA. I know the charts aren't up behind me. Don't panicky, I'm hitting the button now. Ooh. TA, whoops, wouldn't be a Rocky Outcrop show if I didn't try to move the charts without at least once drawing on them. Well, I've actually done it once already today, so let's hope that that is the end of it. So the end of it. Came over here to check it out. Thanks, Randall, for this shout. But we looked at this before markets opened. It was 35.80. The prices are 36.13. So they're a little bit higher than they were. Shiba Inu Robinhood listing at 2:30 Eastern before time today. 1 cent before Christmas, says Patrick Lee. Patrick Lee. A Shiba Inu believer. It's so nice to have you here, my friend. Let's bring up a bit of the old Shibuster to Shibuster. Shibucoin, why you so high? What you do up here so high? So watch out, friend. If thou dost be trading this to Shibu, and thou the Shibu coin, if you are trading Shibu coin and you are not looking attention at the technical analysis, then you are a fool, because you should, right? Up here, highs 236, bounce, but then the floor is lava, stung our feet, down we went, bish bash bosh, 50%, 50 period moving average coming in for a 618 golden pocket retrace, giving you every single aspect of your TA, your typical TA movements happening extremely quickly, with the movements between the highs there down to that area on down to that area, then on up again to the 236, failing at it, pushing on down the way, finding support at the 382. Ah, Shiba Inu, everybody make emergency warning video. Hi, my name MM Crypto. I have emergency warning video for you today. Hi, my name The Moon. I have emergency warning video for you today. Hi, my name Da Vinci J17. I have emergency warning video for you today. Hi, my name BitBoy Crypto. I have emergency warning video today for you today. Yes, and day to day for you today, you must know the Shiba Inu. Guys, girls, legends, legends. I don't make it look easy when I do the technical analysis to take the piss out of other people. No. Start paying attention, though. That would be handy for your future selves. Right. Hey, whoop, whoop. Love those people, by the way. And I was watching them recently, and I love the style of MM Crypto. You know, Chris from MM Crypto. You might not know him. A lot of people who watch the show do, and all that, because he's a big personality in the crypto space. And I've said ever since I started my channel, probably the friendliest guy in crypto. He's such a really nice guy. I find that Germans are really friendly people. I'm like 95% sure he's German. He might be Austrian. Like, you know, really friendly people, really friendly people. He's one of them. So we've had this big old flash down here at the bottom, and that's way down. But it's kind of one of these little warning things for us that we should maybe pay attention to as a general paying attention to thing. So what would that take us down to? And we can see from the recent high we can see from this recent low here, up and down, that would take us to the sort of 1.13 Fibonacci retracement point. This is an interesting one. We know that this is a 618 as well here. That could take us there. We know this is a 618 from that low. So this is logarithmic, and I'll just double check here. And these fib levels are also in the log scale. Let's just jump on over to the linear scale for a second and see how different that looks. Not too different. And take out the harmonic doodad. We'll go from that point. Not exactly the same point as before, just because I noticed when I was doing that it's ever so slightly lower, and should probably be respectful of that. So it's still within kind of tolerance then of a Gartley, if you were to have a Gartley. Now, I'm not being negative or anything like that on this one. I'm really not, but you could be aiming then, if you were looking at that, down to around about, say, here, which is the 786 Fibonacci retracement point, as you can see from the Fibonacci you've got on there. Rewind, which would be your target if you were to, of course, have a Gartley over here for us. Is this the perfect Gartley? Well, this is the real world. So it's not the perfect one, but is it then therefore within tolerance? And yeah, so what we're really needing to see here is, of course, to take out that C point. Let's do that. And to go back to our friend's question without ignoring our friend, whoever it was that said it again, regarding AMC. Why so low today on the AMCs? Let's bear in mind that so long as essentially you're above 33, then you're operating along the same basis in terms of the not having broken things. Now, would you like that? No, you wouldn't. It'd be really awful. But it's conceivable. It's conceivable, I suppose. Not now, pushing down below this area makes it, in terms of this harmonic playing out, etc. I would have to review it again at that point, I suppose. So, but the thing about it is that this technical analysis that I have on the charts here is far too overwhelmingly complex for people, isn't it? It's far too overwhelmingly complex, and this is something that I don't want to be exclusionary, right, in my technical analysis here. And I've got a video which takes half an hour to explain maybe 75% of what you're seeing on the charts here. maybe 50% of what you're seeing on the charts here gets explained in a video that takes half an hour, and it's very, very well made video. It's quite quick, actually. You know, gets through it pretty quick. Not too much of me singing songs or anything. So that's too much. That's overwhelming. I appreciate that. So yeah, look at this. Let's do it easier. I don't want to get rid of this because it's something that's worth revisiting. But I also don't want to move away from my from Chartland that I'm familiar with. But we're going to do this anyway. Load a chart layout. I'll just bring up a different one. We'll go back to one of the ones we've not had on for a wee while. Crayons with friends. Crayons with friends. Shouldn't be too many drawings cluttering up the screen in the most recent time for us. Let's kind of just then review actually where we've come from with regards to when the last time we looked at this chart was. And I'll hide all of the indicators down below. I really should. Yeah, okay, cool. I'll hide all indicators down below. Right, great. Sound. So this is the 4-hour AMC chart. It's not extremely complex. Don't be overwhelmed. All it is the 4-hour AMC chart of the prices of the chart. Let's keep this accessible, folks. Let's keep it accessible. Why does this look different to your chart, your AMC chart? First question, right? First question, a lot of people, assuming that you know what a chart is and how to bring one up and what you'd be doing if you were looking at a chart, yada, yada. Why does this look different, probably, to how your one probably looks? Well, first off, this is the 4-hour time frame, and it's zoomed out so that I can see everything from July 20 or June 20, right? 2020 over there. So that's how much info's on the screen. That may be one reason. But then why does it look like this Chinese dragon rather than looking like your chart? Why does it look like that? Well, it's because I've got the logarithmic button on. Okay, now you can't see the logarithmic button on my chart because I'm actually blocking the button with my arm. But if I lift up my arm and you look just below there in that gap between my elbow and my body, right? You can see that's where the button is. Okay, you can see that's where the button is. That's where the button is on your chart. If I hit this and make it go linear, now maybe it looks more like your chart when you zoom out this much. That's logarithmic. That's linear. Okay. That's one of the reasons. Now, what are we looking at here? This is a Fibonacci retracement that's been drawn in. It's been drawn in from where? The highs in May. The highs in May. Now, what were the highs in May? Well, the highs in May were this is the wrong chart. This is the loop ring chart. This is the loop ring chart. This is another the nobody expects Spanish. Our most what am I doing? The main reason, however, from all of the other reasons why this one looks different to your chart is because I'm looking at the loop ring chart and not looking at the AMC chart because I made a mistake. And that explains the biggest reason. However, right here on the loop ring chart, from the May highs down to the lows we saw in June, we can see that we've come up perfectly towards an 886 Fibonacci retracement, backed away from it, being resisted at the 618 as well. But we've managed to kind of reclaim so far the 50%, and then subsequently put in a cross in the 4-hour of the 50 and the 200 simple moving average. Yeah, the 50 and the 200 simple moving average, and that's good, right? And it's happening right here where the price action is, the crosses, the moving averages are crossed, so you're able to give them instant retests. Very, very good. 24-hour time frame. Then what's that look like? And we've just seen them cross, get the retest of the cross, come back down, of course, then busting underneath the 200 in that period. With the moving averages being, you know, then both taken back out again thereafter with the 618 golden pocket. Come back down here, and we can really see that over the next few whiles, that building up to a question of staying above the 50%, is staying above these things on the 24-hour time frame, getting that confirmation, and looking up the way, right? But there's a big thing missing from my chart right here. And that is ba-dum-bum, bum-ba-dum-bum. Beep-beep-beep-beep-beep-beep. Can't copy from there. Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum. and then oops, sorry about that, and then focus. I want to get that thing on my chart. Indicators. Nice script. Thought I'd saved it in my script. Oh, there it is. Brilliant. So this is this is this, and this is what it is. Yes. And yeah, let's see. So do we have any on here that haven't been filled in as such yet? Now that's an interesting one at the very top there. It does seem like it got, but I just wonder if it then translates over other time frames where it didn't got done there in the past. Right, nice one. Anyway, AMC. Sorry about that. So not that. Sorry. AMC. Sorry, not sorry. AMC, the place to be. Scuba da ba ba da ba dee. Let me know what do you think of my new look? What's my new look? Do you like my new look? Let's do a poll. Create a poll. Do you like the new RO logo? Do you like it? Let me know if you like it. There's a wee poll for you. Right, AMC, complicated charts. No need to be. Let's clear up this fart. Stupid da bambi. Remove. Too complicated? Too complicated? Is this what complicated? Yes, probably. Let's just see if we can make it less complicated. Use one color. No, that's not going to do it for us. Levels, line. No. What would I want to? How am I going to make this less annoying to look at? What's that? Make it less annoying. Less distracting. That might be easier for people to interpret as being like, because it's different to other people's charts. Yeah, this will do. Why is somebody spamming caps? Ashley, why are you spamming the caps, Ashley? Yes. And it goes to Kim, dropped in $9.99. It's really kind of you. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. That's really awesome. So it's genuinely appreciated. Thanks so much for that. Got JC is in the building. Hiya, JC. We've got Chippy. Okay, AMC. Let's see what you got. So good to have you here as well, Chippy. Don't let me forget. It's 5 to 3. I went a little bit off the timing, sort of the rhythm of the show there. I want to get it finished in long before 4. So by 3:30, I'm tuning it by 3:30. Okay, so that's what we'll do. I'll tune it by 3:30. Keep that pretty solid for me to know that that's definitely the case. And what we're going to do is we're going to tune it by 3:30. And I'm going to attend my AGM to make sure that in the building, to make sure that my sort of life isn't destroyed by a bunch of maniacs. So to that end, I'm putting on a timer that will let me know when 15 minutes has gone by. So by that point, I'll have just about 17 minutes left of the show, and there we go. So so that's for my own benefit, so you can see. So you can see that there. Right, brilliant. Okay, so the biggest, most obvious thing with AMC is that until such times as we're back above where this white line is, where's that, $44 or so, we're in not super positive territory, and anything down as low as $31 is conceivable. Along the way, certain things might happen, such as Stream Elements rocket crop. Oh, I'm checking that. We've got Ghost of Kim, Vic, Vince. Did I miss that coming in from Vic earlier on? I thought I missed that. So thanks, Vic. I'll check that in a second. 578. BTC flashes on the daily chart on 23rd of April at $7,130. Controversial and edgy, just as I like it. Also, Tesla, 448.18 November 2020. Interesting ones. Yeah, so like that BTC one, big one, right? Big one. And I can't dismiss it. I can't dismiss it. It's like, you know, literally, I literally can't. It would be it goes against my principles as I'm trying to make this indicator and do this together. So I can't be dismissed. It's a proper data point. So we'll see how that pans out. Right. But of course, as well, with that move that happened down on the Binance US charts, it's an interesting one. So thanks for the shout out, Jimmy. I'm not missing anything over there in Streamlabs though, or Stream Elements, unless somebody's gone to Streamlabs. In which case, you know, Streamlabs being in here is a real issue. I really wish it wasn't in here all the time. Thanks so much for everybody for giving me a vote on that. 80 votes saying that most people, 90% of people really liking it. So that's quality, the new logo. Thanks so much for that. And Streamlabs, please, Streamlabs. Where's Streamlabs? Let me just get Streamlabs and remove moderator thing. Bye bye, Streamlabs. It's no longer a moderator, so shut your mouth. I wonder if moderator will try and, if the Streamlabs will try and keep on posting. I'll leave it. It's no longer mod, right? So there you go. No more hassle from people. Shiba Inu Robin Hood listing at 2:30. Patrick Lee, let me just see. You are now banned. If you want to get back in on the channel, Patrick Lee, let me know. No problem. If you want, no problem at all. Just send me an email, Patrick Lee. You can get my email off the back end of my channel. No problem at all. If you're in the Discord, just let me know. No problem at all. Just looked like you're spamming there. And I'm trying to stay on top of things. I missed the vote. I also approve of the new logo. Fantastic. Thanks so much. Brilliant. Bing bong. That's us at 10 p.m. US time, 3 p.m. UK time. Thank you so much for joining me. Do hit that like button. This is AMC Technical Analysis. I'm looking at the charts and I'm saying that as long as it's above 31 overall, I'm pretty happy. The negative price action that's happened in the run up to today is actually taking us down to a target that I thought could happen. And I'm happy to see things turn around if they do want to turn around from here. My main thing about this that I'm going to be pointing out for people then, I suppose, to keep things nice and simple in today's show is going to simply be about this kind of the question mark wedge that happened on AMC. The big question mark wedge here that got put in by on the prices here. And we can see that we had this facet where it got a touch here, a touch here, and a touch here, a touch here, a touch here. Touch here. Pardon me to everybody if anybody heard me burp. Then we pushed on down the way. So are we only going to end up in fake out territory on this one, which is what I absolutely am looking for, or could we go further? If we go further, then we're talking about coming down to this 31 area. If we manage to survive in fake out territory on this one, and fake out territory on this one coming in right here where we are for us, so just marking out the fake out territory with this nice white line area. That is, of course, fake out territory. If we're able to stay inside that zone, then we are doing okay. So I'll just try and draw that in a wee bit of a less messy fashion so that people will be able to comprehend what that is when we come back in the future to this thing. This is sort of fake out territory. So long as we can stay within fake out territory, we're doing pretty good on it. And I'm happy to remain looking for upside potential now for us. Now, this is the 4-hour time frame, so there's a couple extra things we should point out on this on the charts just here for us. I'll just take a little circular tool and try and do this one for us. Yes, indeed. Here we have the death cross that happened, and I believe that this might be, some of these details might be hard to see, so I'm just going to show you them a lot more clearly. Okay, so that's us got 5 minutes down, so I've got 10 minutes left on that section here, and then I'll be coming into the 15-minute end of the show thing. So this is your fake out territory. The fake out territory of what, you might ask? Let me just show you here the fake out territory of this wedge. So this is our wedge here going this way and this way. This was the target for it down here. That's the target on the wedge. If it were to be negative, look at that. That's pretty dyspraxic. And then but there's this technical area which I like to refer to as the fake out territory, which is, you know, when you're talking about, are we in a are we in a breakout or a fake out? Now that would be fake out territory, and this would be this down below is break is the break target. So if we actually break, that's our target. If we fake, this was our target. So we've done that. And then of course now what we'd be looking for is a couple of different things. Obviously this is the death cross. So I'm looking at the blue line here crossing over this white line here. That's the death cross, and that's typically a very negative thing, right? So I'm looking at that and I'm asking questions about how we're going to see the prices react. Now, moving back up and testing off the 50 simple would be us staying where? It would be us staying within fake out territory. You know, on the way. When you're in fake out territory, let's be clear, fake out territory is very much on the way to breakout territory. You have to go through fake out territory to get to breakout territory. You know, this is behind enemy lines. This is no man's land. You have to go through no man's land to get to behind enemy lines. It's just, you know, the linear effect. So we need so staying below the 50 simple period moving average here during that period of time would of course be negative for us, and that's where those blue crosses are, right in the middle of the fake out territory for us. Now, price wise, what that kind of lines up with is saying that is saying a couple of little things price wise. So let's just kind of look over at that for us, and we can see that the how am I going to do this here in terms of the numbers? So I want to show people the numbers well here. I'm trying to develop new systems. So if I just bring out something like an array, just to give me an idea of prices. So like over here, there's that one. That's where we need to see things getting up to. We could see a retest of the wedge here. So where would that be coming in at in the next wee while? Let's just aim for the top end of that. And then, of course, if we do actually want to start making a difference, then we know as well that there's this white dotted line lines up with the top end, and we need to take out our higher highs and move past that price. That was what I said. My initial premise was on the starting up the TA, that so long as we're below that area, things have got the potential to be negative, and let's look at them accordingly. So and be not, you know, unafraid, courageous to look at it. Just be courageous and look at it. And that, so zooming in here to have a look then at where those prices come in at, and you can see that, well, you can see this kind of roughly for yourself, I suppose. Here is, what is that? I mean, what actually is that price of that thing? You can't see it. Great, hold on a second here. What is the price of that white line there? 38.68. So 38.68. Oh, that's it there. All right, cool. So that was that 38.68 line. So the next one up is 41.29 and 43.67. So 44, 41.29 and 38.68. Those are key areas for us. And to answer the person's question that said, you know, really low or whatever, 4 hours, start to the day, really, you know, green candle at the start of the day so far. Can't complain. You know, it's more or less exactly how we anticipated the prices going. So actually, to be perfectly frank with you, friend, this here is not the sort of thing that you see when somebody is typically feeling like they're having a bad day. So your comment was a little bit bizarre on that front, but hey. Right. Cool, that was pretty cool. Look at fun, says RJ Low. Cool, nice one. Nice one. Totally, no problem, man. And right, so just take a quick look at fun just to see. Oh, not changed since we talked about the technical analysis earlier on. Has been negative today. Not changed since we talked about the technical analysis earlier on. Sorry, pal. You just got yourself. Yes, fun is volatile. I know. I just gave that guy a timeout for 5 minutes. Sorry, we've got not very long left on the end of the show, and that was a distraction. So moving on to the GME one. Sorry, mate, you missed it. You sorry, tough. That was a harsh treatment from Rocky for somebody giving. He was just trying to take part. Yeah, sorry. Ha. I just did that for fun. I'm sorry, man. You'll be back in 5 minutes. Right, sound. So where are we? Keeping things simple again today. Yes, great, fantastic. We're up above the golden pocket. just ever so slightly, which is where we want to be. Let's just focus on that for today, staying above that 172 area. In terms of small time frame jazz, small time frame jazz, is that a thing? Do people play small time frame jazz? I suppose if small time frame jazz is a thing, then consider me Miles Davis. Ooh. Ah. That's like that song. Ooh. Ah. I don't know what it is. I can't remember the name of it, but Sasha will know what I'm talking about. Could we have had this, and have we done enough yet? Well, the momentum off the back of this consolidation that we've seen over the last wee while here, the last 15-minute time frame. So we're looking back as far as just, October 22nd. That's yesterday's trading session in terms of like, how I think on Mondays when I call Friday yesterday, because that's how I roll. That's just let me okay, there. That there takes us just up into this region. We're current target that we're looking to get filled in, and it's laid out very clear for us. It's not exactly hard to identify. That one is 178.1. So that's our current target. We're 172 at the minute, building up, leading up towards that. That's where I'm anticipating prices going to. That's what I'm looking for, and that's really all you need to know right now. There's this happened. It's over in terms of like needing to identify that it's there. But of course, there's a potential for a retest, and it doesn't take any sort of amazing pattern recognition monkeys out there to see that this line that I've got lines up with that horizontal green line just there. So you'll forgive me as I go ahead and just remove this one from the chart there, because of course we know where retest area would be of that for us. Okay, so it's staying within the golden pocket zone is what we're looking to see happen. In terms of like where we move today, if it's going to be bad, if it's going to be good, then getting outside of that zone. And as you can see, just back down below it, that's my little sort of line that I'd be looking at the minute, sort of the 173s, because I'm aiming up towards 178. That would be that one. So cool. 3:10. Good morning, Sean. Yeah, Salamander, you've got 2 tip jars on screen, and I've got someone in my ear asking if you're seeing your PayPal on the Streamlabs or now. Right. So I'm seeing my stream. I've got my activity feed here. Here's my activity feed. Ghost of Dan, $5 super chat. Bad Mama Jama, $5 super chat. Ghost of Kim, $9.99 super chat. Randall, 231 super chat. Vic Vince, 578 super chat. Katie Babes, $5 super chat. Braveheart, 4.99 super chat. And that's all I've got today. So I've got nothing in that one. So I would love to know, whoever is in your ear, where they sent that, who they sent that to, what website they used for it, etc. Because it's just not appeared on my activity feeds, right? So there's nothing more I can do than that. If you use the link in the description down below, the Stream Elements one, and if it's not Stream Elements, I really apologize. That could actually be what's happening. I'll just check myself. That would be a good thing to check. So pay support stream with CryptoScript with Streamlabs. Sorry, completely my fault. I'm an absolute idiot. So just a second. I'm sorry, right? Just a second. Absolutely my fault. I'm an idiot. Didn't mean that. Okay. So thanks for the shout out, Sal. I had it there. I was looking. It was, best intentions, all that crap. I'll just get some of this. Oh no, I've opened up Streamlabs. So you can see whenever I get stressed out, at least you can see it this time. I'm like, oh no, I've opened up Streamlabs by accident. Please go away, Streamlabs, and stop annoying me on the screen. Hopefully that'll do it. No. So anyway, when this thing eventually loads up, I'll see. I'm really sorry about that. Thanks so much. Oh, why did that Tezos not thing work though? Wow. Okay, so I don't know. I hope I didn't hit the wrong one there. So my for some reason my crypto donations are working through Streamlabs, but they're not working on Stream Elements, which shouldn't be the case. So thanks so much for that. And the second thing is that I've got the wrong link in my description. So really sorry about that, people, for that. Okay, and and yeah, so thank you. We'll have that. We'll have everything laid out properly by tomorrow. And thank you. And then so TradeSpotter, thank you so much for the Tezos. I like Tezos for 11, but could maybe hit 14 blabs. I'll take a look at Tezos. Katie Babes, looking good today. Have a great stream. S-bet, please. When you do requests, S-bet. Okay, and D Harker, have a great week all. CRTD to the moon. Okay, thank you, Sal, for keeping my head on the right angle there with that one. So CRTD, let's just see here, CRTD. So I really do appreciate that, and we'll have the correct links and all that. That's because it's my standard YouTube thing. My sort of I haven't changed my up my defaults by, and it's in there by accident. There. So interestingly, there's a flash showing us that we've got a target at 0.135. We're at 0.135 CRTS. That's the wrong thing, isn't it? Did I make a typo there? I must have made a typo. Just a second here. CRTD. Sorry about that. CRTD. Ooh, defended that gap, moved up today. Wow, interesting stuff. I actually want to just quickly, briefly check over here, CRTD, and see if I've got any old TA lying around on this thing. I don't at the minute. That I can see. Cool. Yeah. Defending this gap here means that you are staying above the 236, which is cool. So we've I mean, do you want to believe? I don't know. Like this is a big ask, right? This is a big ask. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like it. It's a big ask. It's a big ask anyway at the best of times. Whereas you can have a couple of touches over here on this thing, like, and you can have a couple of have a couple of touches on the lower side, and it's just kind of only a thought between that 521 down to 430, so it's 90 cent. I mean, that's ah. Anyway, to do that whole range, that whole thing there, 877 down to 489. It's flying away at the minute, you know. Like the momentum is with this thing today. People like right now are trading this with it right now. You know, that's nice. Um, this is the 15-minute time frame that I'm looking at, so this only really takes us back to Thursday. And if we were looking at this string as a measured move potential, which I don't like, and I'm curious as to whether or not I'm asking myself whether or not I made a mistake doing this. But at the same time, this overall thing here of this island that we've got is not much of a problem for me having that there. Um, Oh, 4 hour target though. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna remain bearish on this, right? And I'm gonna become bearish on it from say right now. Um yeah, 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 screw it. Yeah, I'm still looking like this 4 hour target here, keeping things nice and simple as well with our technical analysis. I'm aiming for 246. Now we'll see over time because I'm going to be far more. You know, the scrutineers, the three scrutineers are here to look at us. We've got look at this. We'll have the we'll keep our eye out to see whether or not we actually come back down to this level again as part of this, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that works. Okay, um, and I've just flipped stance on this one in the face of that. In the face of that goodness, the 618 golden pocket got reached. That's good enough for us with that height. You know, I'm really kind of forced the issue in terms of like my attitude on this one. I really am. Like I was looking at it for a second and thinking, do I want to suggest that we're going to test off of this?
All right, sorry, I'm back.
Off of this.
Nah, back to the markets. Good to
Off
see
of
you
this,
yourself. Sorry.
It's got no fill now. Are we going to test off of this line? We're going to test off of this. That's like my first sort of question. The 618 golden pocket. I'm going too deep on this analysis here. Harmonics would suggest to you that if you get a higher low, I suppose because D asked me to, I'm more inclined to look at it in a more, and I'm aware that he's trading this thing currently, and that if we find support, if we don't actually go down, we find if we do go down at the minute, and we find support at 480, right? Then I'm looking for a harmonic to play out and take us up to 639 before making any further decisions on whether or not I'm bullish or bearish in terms of how this is playing out right now. Right, that would be my response to, while this overall section, so my TA, we could just actually make this into a tiny little clip and everything. I don't know how good this is or not right now. I'll think about it. I'll engage my brain in terms of being critical after I've made it, because otherwise it might affect my self-esteem during filming. It's really pretty much as simple as it needs to be. Where's myself though? It's so annoying that I'm not appearing on screen over here. Why am I not showing up? Oh well. I work on this screen and I work on this screen, but I don't work on the screen I started on. Unknown reasons. I obviously didn't change any settings since I started, but there we have it. Hello, my friends. Do you trade CRTD? Then let's do some TA on it. Thanks for joining me. My name's Rocky Outcrop. Chart might look a bit complex. I'm going to keep it very simple. This big yellow circle shows a couple of things for us. Highlights the current price action being in an island which is separated away from the rest of the price action. What do you mean by island? Well, quite simply, this region, this region in here, which is a huge gap, is separating out the two kind of land structures. So it's like an island in that respect. And I'm wondering if we're going to actually see this 4-hour time frame target of $2.46 actually get hit by this one in the near future, with the current arrangement of the prices coming in with a little pattern for us to analyze. This time frame here not showing you very much with the bizarre layout of those candles, but it does give you an idea as to the volatility in this region. So there's a lot happening. 15-minute time frame, you can see what I'm talking about a lot better, hitting the auto button and zooming out a wee bit, the auto button and zooming out a wee bit. There's that island again. Moving on down here, testing off the 50 simple period moving average and finding support, jumping on up and ultimately coming in for a golden pocket retrace on this one. That's a golden pocket. Pulling back down, retesting this wedge. You know what? Even though compared to my usual videos, this one is really I'm trying to make it really accessible. That's not accessible enough, so I'm going to stop that and start it again. It still isn't accessible enough, and there's a good few reasons for that. So let's just hide off some more of these here. And thanks for your patience. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of everything that we do here. I could sit here all day saying thanks to y'all. I'm not going to do that. I really do appreciate it. Hello. Are you trading CRTD right now? You'll probably want to know the technical analysis on it. So wait, actually, hold on a second. I need to. There's no. Sorry. There's no point making that little clip if I don't actually know what this thing's called. Created ink, right? Actually, man, how many people are actually trading this thing? Is it one of these meme stock things? It'd be cool if it was. Let's do it anyway. We'll see. We can all analyze the stats of this video together, right? If you want to. It's just for fun. Hi, friends. Are you trading Created Ink? CRTD stock? Do you want some CRTD stock technical analysis right now that might help you make a little bit more money if you're trading this extremely volatile stock? My name's Rocky Outcrop. All I'm asking for you to do, all you've got to do right now is hit a like button. Hitting the like button on this video lets me know that you want more content like this. Nice, short, snappy videos that let you know what's going on with the charts. This is CRTD. Like I say, my name's Rocky Outcrop. Big yellow circle highlighting the key areas for us to be aware of on this stock right now, CRTD stock. So what are they and what are the main concerns for us? For me, I'm actually asking, are we going to drop back down? Are we going to drop back down to a lower level? Let me show you that one right here, right now. You can see it's starting to come up with these drawings on the chart. I'll hide everything else off so you can see exactly what it is that I am looking at and zoom on in and everything so you get to see it nice and easy on your screen. So you'll be asking, what is that? Well, that thing there, what I'm looking at is this purple shaded area, and there's a line there showing where the prices could go back down to. So we'll just zoom in so you can see that again a bit clearer. Zooming on in, it's this area right here that I'm asking about, and the price target on it is $2.46. Could we go there? This indicator that I've got does tend to work to the penny, so that's an interesting one for us to be aware of if you're trading that. That's called the Rocky Outcrop Flash. Okay, over here, what we have are the prices haven't moved up quite a bit into what's known as an island, and that's the whole area circled in yellow. On the 4-hour time frame, you can't see so clearly what that pattern is, that little wedge that I've got drawn on in there. But you can see the volatility of this stock very, very clearly. That big gap that happened today, having obviously had a lot of downward price action so far on it during the day. Going down to the 1 hour, you get to see a lot better. This doesn't have any touches on it, that wedge though. So you start to think, is this necessarily valid? 15-minute time frame, there is I would like to entertain debates as to whether or not this is valid, this wedge that I've got here. You know, not really. I don't feel happy about it, but you could make arguments as to whether or not we're coming in to go for a retest of this thing right now. I don't like it that much, so I'm going to just get rid of it. But if you are looking at this sort of wedge, then you've got a target which does take you past the previous highs, and that would be up towards $9. And I do think that we can get there. I just have questions as to whether or not we need to go there first before doing some sort of consolidation. So if we are doing that little bit of consolidation right here, right now, my targets are going to be back down to the 236 Fibonacci retracement point. I'll just show you real quick. I've got a Fibonacci in here, which is, of course, important for us. And the first part of it is that 236. The next part of it for us after the 236 to look to is the golden pocket. These are two key areas that I'm looking for. So you can see these two serrated lines here going that way, and this one serrated line going that way. Those are our main targets in terms of this little area just here. So I'll just show you right now over here. That's what I'm looking at and asking questions with that hands pointing down to. If we go down to that area, then that would be doing what's known in harmonics as a little gartley, just in that region, just there, a little gartley on the charts. Now it's hard for you to see exactly how this would work, but going between these points here actually would line up as a gartley, giving you a target in here at what would be the 786 Fibonacci retracement between those 2 points there. And if I just show you what that actually is on the charts, that means that you may aiming up maybe perhaps the 638 on the contingency that any retraces that we have do go down to 480 or so, but don't go any lower than that. Now, if we sit where we are just now, you're going to be asking questions about whether or not the momentum remains with us on the day. Just simply put, the chances of us going down and testing that area are quite high at 488, as that's where the 50 simple period moving average is. I'll leave the rest of the trading with you. I do try to make it quite clear in my analysis that I have at any one given time one big target. Whether or not we move there immediately or not will come down to the TA that represents that particular region. You know, the TA dictating that zone. So on this stock, the current target that I have is down at 246. I know. However, I am bullish on this in the longer term as well. And in the shorter term, I think that there could be some movements that are quite tradable up and around it. I hope that helps. This is designed to be integrated with your own technical analysis. It's not perfect, but it should be very good. And I would encourage you to take part in this community that we have here, because there's so many people. Actually, you know, while I float here in the abyss of black empty space, there's actually thousands and thousands and thousands of really excellent traders that have got my back and have got all your back too. Big thanks to everybody who knows who they are as part of that group. There's thousands of you. All the first followers, I'm your crazy dancing guy. Come back again and tune in for another one of these shows. My name's been Rocky Outcrop. I'll be back again with So that was my clip that I made. I made the clip in the end. Hopefully that's helpful to people, right? I try to put effort into these things. You can see the way that that went together. We're at 3:29. That's bringing us right to the very end of the show. I did promise myself and y'all that I would tune out at that point, but I know that there's things that we should look at, right? So I'm going to break my rule on that little promise that I made and take a quick look at a couple of things that I said that we would look at, so I don't miss any of them. So D Harker saying, amongst other things, they're auctioning an NFT of Trump signing some tits. Current bid 240 Ethereum, pure meme stock. Mental stuff. Mental stuff. 246. That goes to that Jiu-Jitsu guy, donated $5. Thank you, Jiu-Jitsu guy. Trade spotting. I like Tezos. We'll take a quick look at Tezos. Big shout out to all my Tez friends, all my Tez heads out there. Love you, Tez heads. And we'll take. It's nice to see that. I think that TA should have helped people. And yeah, I think SBet. Right, quick SBet. Let's just look at quick SBet real quick and see. Wow, real nice bullish price action. This is a classic case of test out of this area being something to look out for. You've got like your easy sort of green line. You know, just simply like buying dips on this thing until such times as it's turned around is a way to do things in a very small term time frame. You know, if you like. This is a big rise up, though. I would be concerned about a few little facets here, which are going to be coming up soon. I mean, what do we think is going to happen in this region? Leave it with you, this question, as we see the 200 simple moving average sloping down, the 50 sloping up the way, and then if there are crosses between moving averages, what do we typically expect to see when there are crosses of moving averages? Would it be I'll leave this question with you. Would a retest of moving average be anticipated? I would just leave that question with you. Anticipated. So you know, you can ask that question of yourself as you're looking at this TA. Then how would you kind of move your study your movements? You know, which of these lows would you choose to draw in a fib from? Where would you choose out of these lows here? Which ones would you choose from? Which one would you choose from? I think that there's a couple of obvious answers on this one. Over here, and of course over here. These would be the two that you'd look from. And then of course, as I draw this in from that low up to that high, then with the remaining moving averages on, or the moving Fibonacci's on here, then I would say to you to bear to keep a close eye on a couple of different targets, one of which having confluence with what we've already talked about. This first one here, being at the 236, coming in there at $1.19 would be something to look out for. And the other one, well, what does that have confluence with? I'll leave that question with you. I hope the Socratic method here on this TA has been somewhat more educational than the other one. I really genuinely believe it should have been. Please let me know if you enjoyed that little clip. I do try with these sorts of things. So I hope that that was an interesting one for you, and thanks so much for your TA request there. And then looking up here at Tezos, McBezos. Yes, Tezos, till you Bezos. That is exactly what everybody wants to do, and I believe that we have got some exceedingly positive things to talk about on this this chart here. 1 hour time frame, taking it in from that previous low to this low on Tezos. What do we see whenever we see lows which are lower? Again, the Socratic method on this TA here. Let me just ask you, what is it? What is it when there are lower lows on price action? right? What is it when there's lower lows on price action, yet on the RSI is showing higher lows, right? Leave that one with you to answer on this piece of information just here. So on this chart. So what would you see with that? And then I'll ask another question as well. What is the cross, is the DI positive and DI negative crossing while ADX is above 25 a positive signal for on DMI, right? Let me just leave that question as well with you on this one. I hope this is helping you. Hope this is educational, and I hope this is pointing out how, you know, our TA is integratable with your own, and that is, you know, primarily pedagogically based as well. We use risk management techniques, and the reason why it's like that is really is primarily because I'm actually a fantastic human being. So where would we be managing risk at in the meantime? And where would we be targeting as well in the meantime for a quick sort of our move, which doesn't change anything? Well, if there's one area of importance just there and there's another area of importance just here, what would those two things be? If this is important and this is important, then what do you have here is between you have confluence, of course. So what would be the confluence? So I'll leave that with you as well as a question for you to answer. And then with regards to how we have responded in this section, let's roll with this. Let's roll with these two here, giving us this move. Let's roll with those two as the lower side. Let's roll with these three as the upper side here. So we'll go for 1 touch, 2 touch, and 3 touch, and we'll go for 1 touch, 2 touch on this thing. And then we will kind of just measure this elasticity of this out, pop it down here, and then say if this is completed, then while we've had all of these other factors on the go, while we've had, you know, the bullish factors on the go, and while we've taken out this particular target, and as well as the Ichimoku cloud is on the charts right here, right now, then what are we looking at in terms of lower term areas where you can see the prices going to? Best buy price, would that be 655? Would that be 655? You know, would that be the best one there? Would this be the best one here? How do you view this bit of cloud? That'd be a question for you. And then what is it that we're seeing in this region right here? And if we were to indulge in dropping down the time frames and hitting the auto button, what do we see here? And isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful the way that the TA so often on the Rocky Outcrop show cascades together into the most beautiful orgasm of analysis? I tell you what do we see here down below is that, of course, the range from the previous wedge lines up perfectly, giving us that absolute harmonized, beautiful analysis. What do we know as well from the world of pattern analysis? What do we know that you'd be aiming for in terms of the percentage of this move? If this stick is 100%, how much of that move are you going to aim for your best profit taken? And then as a result of that, then what do we have as well? Whoa, let me just see here. This would, of course, be our third point of confluence for us on this one. Where do we know as well in terms of best buy price? Oh, it only lines up with lower end of that wedge as well, letting you be able to, of course, manage your risk with fake out territory just here. Mwah, chef's kiss. That's technical analysis for you. Now, I know it isn't necessarily, if you're only watching this chunk, necessarily intelligible all the way through for you, but if you've watched the whole episode of this live show today, you'll get this. And not only will you get this, you'll be surprised at yourself at just how well you're doing. What's missing? The elephant in the room? Well, of course, we've got the world's greatest indicator ever, which does get targets to the penny more often than anything else ever that's been invented, showing us that we still have the potential to come up here. However, we've also got another flash on the go. Finishing off today's show, final seconds really in terms of this before we go to the reverse roll calls, is that this area changes conditions. It didn't actually happen. Therefore, while I do actually expect the prices will come to this period again, I actually think that once they've moved past them, we will actually see a retest of this area as well. That's right. Not only is this the best indicator in the world at calling where the prices are going to go, just leaving this one with you, ladies and gentlemen, this also shows us where our retest will be next because of the conditions that we have right here. All that and more to explore as we move forward with the show together. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's been it. That's what we do here. That's what we do in the show. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've had a good day and that this will be the start of your amazing day. Or if you're like Ben in Asia, this is the end of an amazing day for you either way round. Really do hope that you've been having the best and the happiest of the happiest at whatever you've been doing. Thanks so much for being here today as ever. Got got some interesting chat in there. Who's that? I'm going to assume that you're of course a gentleman and a scholar because none of the moderators have banned you, so that's pretty good. And that's good to see lots of other chat in there, so that's cool. It seems like we're ready to tune out there. Reverse roll call then coming in here. Thanks so much for Tradespawn for tuning in. Oh, there, Ghost of Dan Ernst, Christy Callahan, D Harker, Bunsen Burner, DMC17, Vegman, Chris, the Shadow of a Lepton. We've also got the likes of Brady Pearl. Thank you so much, Rocky rocking it today. We've also got Observe Thyself. We've got Kieran KP92. We've got Homer's Ghost. We've got Torsten, who said earlier on, Rocky, thank you for the life-changing stuff. You're brilliant. Appreciated. We've got Ashley here. Have a fabulous whatever, folks. Thanks, Rocky. Thanks, Ashley, the lady with the most beautiful garden. D Harker, I hope you have a great trading week. Absolutely. Thanks, Ashley, Sasha as well for tuning in. The likes of Randall as well. Piga, thank you as well. Leave your comments in the comments, 19-year-olds. And I'll say your name's Piga. Thanks for all the young viewers that tune in as well. Katie of Charka, all that stuff. Tennessee Texan just dropping in to say Tesla. If you don't have time today, no worries at all. Sorry, got to tune out. I've also got to go today and attend an AGM in my building where shit be going down. So it's going to be one of those things. 55 apartments in this block and 50 of them hate each other. I don't really know. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Probably more like 20. Right. Great. Excellent. Sugar says Tradespawn. Sugar. The AGM. Yes. The AGM. Final part of the roll call, of course, is to give a shout out to those who deserve it more than anybody else, who have, through the method of capitalism, proven themselves to be better than others. Therefore, our superiors today are Tennessee Texan, the ghost of Jen Campbell. She's good. She's better than all the rest of you. D Harker, who is also better, head and shoulders above the rest of you in terms of his how much of a good human being he is. The Ghost of Jiu-Jitsu guy, again, another one of these people who has proven that they are indeed better than you with their donation there. Massively appreciated. The Ghost of Dan, another ghost in there. Wen Ambo, out there celebrating the fact that you are indeed better than anybody else that watched the show today with your donations, of course, as well. Bad Mama Jama also doing that. Bad Mama Jama always on the reg, proving that he's better than everybody else, and I agree. Thank you. Well done. It's enlightening to me. Ghost of Init Kim, exactly. You know, Init Kim, you beautiful, wonderful lady, proving that you also are better than everybody else. Thank you so much for that. I said that's very, very good. It's very, very good. Randall in there as well. Didn't cost him much to prove that he's a better human being than the rest of y'all in there. Only cost him $2.31. Yet he got to do that. Vic Vince chipping in here with 578, also proving that he's better. He's got better ethics, better morality, more of a backbone, and he's cooler, better personality. than the others as well. And it only cost him $5.78 to prove that to everybody else in there with that chitter chatter. Katie Babes as well, another one of these people, part of the elite, proving that they are better than everybody else massively. It only cost her a $5 to prove that she's better than everybody else. And, you know, obviously at such low prices, the fact that she did that in and of itself is that proof that she is better than the rest of the people. Now, Braveheart 619 got in really early and asked for that fun TA, much better proven that they're better than other people. And so much so that I actually banned somebody else for asking for something that this guy, who is much better than everybody else, asked for earlier on, you know, just to underline how good you are. Oh, Ghost of Wolfric Doomslayer, just there at the final seconds getting in and proving that he is also better than other people. Better, but got more substance to his character. Nicer person. So that too, yep, that too as well. Now they're not the only people that prove that they're nicer people. You've also got Philly, the Beanut, Chris Bayer, Dylan Hinkle, Gabriel, the Crooked Vines, Richie Peretta, Hunter Vesson. They all subscribed today, proving themselves to be right on that road to being better people than other people. That's right. And then you've got the likes of people who are actually better than even the ones that donated in the show today. The elite of the elite. The Waffen traders over there. Feed My Frankenstein, who became a member on Friday of the Patreon, Mundungus K, B, and Peter Fraser, SRD 1969. All of you people that, of course, as well, as ever, prove that you are nicer, kinder people. We're all equals here, and I really do love every single last one of you. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you just spending the time here. You could be doing anything. You could be doing anything at all, yet you choose to be here, a part of this community. That action in itself is the most amazing thing in the world. Every single one of us thinks that you are the best person. Really, nobody is better than anybody else here. You are the best person. Thanks so much for tuning in. Last 1 second here from Shadow of a Lepton. Anything you can do, I can do better. Mwah. Chef's kiss. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you again tomorrow. More of the same coming right up. And if you want that indicator, it's not actually available for sale just yet. Will be $1,000. Separate, priced out separately to the Discord membership. And from before this stream started, you have 7 days or something to get yourself to make sure that you're grandfathered over or something like that, because I'll be charging people separately for it when we do that way. Right? Brilliant, excellent, good stuff. See you next time. Of course, if I've got the old code, you've got the old code.
By the market, you get protection. It's not driven by the market here. It's driven by a formula that the market is using to readjust the price that is the result of market forces. So if they want to do this, let them do it, but let them compete as they say they want to. Don't let them do it having interfered with the market and then claim this protectionist benefit of Rule 611.
And so your argument is that rule has to be updated through notice and comment rulemaking.
Yes.
The FCC wants to update it.
Yeah, I mean, look, if they want to say it doesn't have to be immediately and automatically executable, you can have an intentional delay and you can have intervention by the agency. It's perfectly fine. They just got to choose different words. But again, Judge Rao, you don't have to agree with me on that, because
how many times I gotta block this dude?
And there is some de minimis exception that can be read into that language, notwithstanding its natural meaning. They still here did not do what they tried to do back in 2016. They didn't say, okay, we're extending it to displayed prices. Here's why that extension doesn't frustrate the purposes of the Act. They pointed back to 2016, but of course in 2016, they were never looking at displayed prices. So they've got an APA problem anywhere they go, although I will say I think that it's more fundamental than they recognize.
My colleagues have any further questions? Okay, thank you. We will hear next from the SEC.
Good morning, and may it please the court. Emily Truparisi for the Securities and Exchange Commission. The Commission's order in this case, approving IEX's proposal to offer its customers a new order type, was the product of reasoned decision-making, supported by substantial evidence, and should be affirmed. I would like to go straight to this idea that it's large orders that are turning on the CQI, which is something that I heard from Petitioners Council. The Commission large orders that were turning on the CQI. what the commission found, looking at the data in the record, is that it looked specifically at the extensive data in the record for what was happening at the time that CQI in these small milliseconds and microseconds. And it found this the stark disparity between the volume of marketable and displayed orders that were being executed versus non-displayed. And it's important to unpack that a little bit, because the displayed versus non-displayed shows that the activity is targeting the orders that don't have the protection of the speed bump and the CQI, and the marketable orders shows that it's the aggressive orders taking it. It's not the midpoint orders, it's the ones that are crossing the spread aggressively. So there was extensive data in the record showing that that the CQI only turns on when it's aggressive order taking, the hallmarks of latency arbitrage. Then you look at the qualitative data in the record that the commission had before it, right? Numerous commentators wrote in saying that they could not trade in that manner, and that those that do use these large orders, these intermarket sweep orders, would not have any problem filling, because the commission made extensive findings that the accounting for this de minimis speed bump, IX's speed bump, is something that is commonplace in order routing. There would be no additional cost because it's commonplace order routing that people already have to take advantage of, take account of, because the delay at IEX is no different than the geographical latencies that are inherent in all the different exchanges.
What do you say to counsel's argument that this is inconsistent with the immediate and automatic language of the existing regime?
Sure, I'd be happy to go to that argument, Your Honor. So we think that the language really here is right clear, and I think it's just a misunderstanding of what that Rule 611 inquiry is getting at here, right? So Rule 611 says that, protected quotations can't be traded through, and then you have to use the definitions to figure out what protected means. So in order to be protected, it has to be automated, and that's really the question here. Are these quotes automated? It's important to take a step back and think about this. There's only two choices. It's either automated or it's manual, right? So, and it simply makes no sense to think of these quotes as manual. That's you think of a trading floor and a human sort of intervening. These quotes are not manual. They are automated because they immediately and automatically execute. And to focus on the word immediately, as I heard some of the discussion focusing on, it cannot be that it has to immediately, has to mean literally there's no delay at all, because all quotes experience some delay, and the commission explained this very clearly in its automated quotations interpretation that it issued in 2016, right? All quotes have some geographic latency, so you can't take immediate to mean to literally mean there's no geographic delay whatsoever. So once you've taken account of the premise that there's some geographic delay, the question is, well, is this de minimis IEX delay any different? And it's not. It's the commission found it's well within the same kinds of geographical latency limitations that all other protected quotes hit. So it's quite simply consistent.
Ms. Cruz, so my question about that, immediately, isn't the natural meaning of immediate, sure, there might be a geographic latency, but if someone takes an intentional action to impose a delay, even if that delay is very small, as it is here, doesn't that mean that it's not immediate? So when there's a geographic latency, immediate is just sort of limited by technology, how immediate can something be? But if someone takes an intentional action, an intentional delay, that doesn't strike me as consistent with the natural meaning of immediate.
So, Your Honor, Citadel made that exact argument in 2016 in their comment letter about the plain meaning, and the commission addressed it in 2016, and it said there's nothing about the intentionality of the delay because it's simply the same from the perspective of the execution as the geographic delay. And so to the extent the intentionality piece comes in, it just doesn't come in the Rule 611 analysis, because the Rule 611 analysis is simply about the duration of time, and the intentionality piece doesn't come in there. It may come in terms of
the protected quotation side of things, right? Because the idea is that it's a protected quotation because of market forces, not because of an algorithm, as Mr. Wall said earlier.
Well, it's protected because it's sort of just ipso facto from the definition. It's protected because it's automated, and it's automated because immediately and automatically executes. And it's important to go back, I think, Your Honor, to answer your question to the to Reg NMS and what Rule 611 was supposed to do. The idea there was to encourage automated trading as opposed to manual trading, right? That was the specific purpose of the trade through exception in 2005. It gave the protected quote status to automated trading as opposed to manual, because manual was too slow. And so the idea was to encourage automated trading. And there's just nothing that's not automated. I mean, it makes no sense to think of IEX's trades, IEX's quotes as not automated. It also just doesn't make any sense to think of only the delimit quotes as not automated and therefore protected, because then you have a strange situation where some of IEX's quotes are protected, but only the delimit ones aren't, and the people trading don't know which is which. So it just doesn't fit under the structure of the regulation itself to not consider these quotes protected and therefore automated. The questions about access to the liquidity and what Mr. Wall was referring to as phantom liquidity, that is addressed extensively by the Commission, but under the Exchange Act analysis as opposed to the Rule 611 analysis. And the Commission found that there would not be extensive quote fading and everything, but that goes to that analysis. But the Rule 611 analysis is really very clear under the terms of the statute. You're either automated or manual. You're automated. If you're automated, you're protected under Rule 611.
What do you say to the argument that the SEC itself caused the problem of latency arbitrage that IEX is going to elaborate lengths to solve, because the cause of latency arbitrage was Reg NMS?
Your Honor, I think I would say that, the issue before the Commission here is whether the order is consistent with the Exchange Act. And so the Commission has to take these things as they come. The Commission is balancing competing policy concerns in terms of the Exchange Act and 11 Cap A and the congressional directive that is set out there to create this national market system. But the issue here in front of the court is simply whether IEX's proposal to offer this new order type to its customers is consistent with the Exchange Act. And here the Commission found that it clearly was. There was extensive data in the record. And I did want to touch on, I see my time is up, and so I just wanted to quickly touch on, with the court's permission, the idea that the Commission ignored Citadel's data. It simply did not.
Before you do that, though, and I understand it's not perhaps directly related to the question before us, but it does seem to inform it. Do you agree that Reg NMS was sort of the first mover, the cause of all this latency arbitrage trouble that Citadel says doesn't exist, but IEX says does exist, and SEC does exist, and IEX is trying to fix?
Your Honor, I think pinpointing the cause of a market phenomenon like latency arbitrage is a very difficult thing to do, and I don't think the Commission has said anything like that. I mean, certainly regulations can have consequences, both intended and unintended, but I don't think that we necessarily would agree with the petitioner's characterization there.
Ms. Cruz, can I just ask you, since briefing in this case, have other exchanges sought to follow IEX's model? And if so, how has the SEC handled those proposals, if there have been any?
I don't believe there have been any. Occasionally, someone will copy a certain feature of the plan, but then sometimes they will take them back. But I don't believe there is any true copycat of this proposal in the market. And precisely because to do so, you would need to already have the infrastructure. You need to have speed bump and the CQI and all the pieces that go up that lead up to the delimit order yourself. And there simply aren't any other exchanges that have all that infrastructure. I don't believe there are any other copycats.
Thank you. Okay.
Unless the court has any questions.
Thank you very much.
We would ask that the order be affirmed. Thank you.
We'll now hear from Ms. Stetson.
Good morning, Your Honors, and may it please the Court. I'm Kate Stetson, representing IEX as the intervener. I want to make just a couple points on the primary argument in this case, the latency arbitrage issue and the solution that IEX devised. And then I do want to be sure to talk about this immediacy issue, Judge Sentel and Judge Rao, that you raised as well. But just on the latency arbitrage point to begin, Judge Rao, I think one of your questions pointed at this as well. This primary argument of Citadel's is a substantial evidence argument. That's unusual. Usually there's a lack of statutory authority argument or some other more significant APA hook. So here, what we are looking for is, was there substantial evidence in the record that latency arbitrage occurred? And the commission found yes. Those sites include Joint Appendix 62, 87, 89. When was latency arbitrage happening? The commission concluded, based on IEX's several months' worth of data, that it is happening in those microseconds right before a price changes. And I want to mention something that Mr. Wall said about the dogs barking if there is data of latency arbitrage. There are so many dogs. There are so many comments in this case from hundreds of investment advisors and companies representing trillions of dollars under management and millions of investors, including, among others, high-frequency traders, XTX and Virtue. Virtue in particular does precisely what Citadel does. We can talk about what we're calling the retail issue in a minute if you all like, but understand that Virtue supported this delimit order and does exactly what Citadel does. With respect to Mr. Well's other comment about this evidence that IEX put in over several months of data and which the commission evaluated and accepted as evidence of, quote, normal large trading, that is simply not true. What we are talking about is evidence of a huge amount of trading going on in the couple few microseconds before a price changes. I just happened to blink my eyes. That blink is about 200 times longer than the couple microseconds that we're talking about. So when Citadel talks about routing 15% of its batched retail trades at that very moment, that is Citadel trying to hit that stale quote. That is what is happening. It is not evidence of normal large trading. With respect to the data that Citadel put forward, and I want to make clear, there is a difference between disagreeing with a commenter and ignoring a commenter. And I think a lot of what Citadel's brief tries to do is to shoehorn this into some model where the commission didn't ignored Citadel's data, didn't pay sufficient attention, and there is a huge amount of work that the commission did in
What up,
this
Ghost?
order.
How we doing, brother?
To take into account that data and to talk about it and explain it. And
what are the clip notes so far? We'll run through them real quick.
Important is that data comparing the difference between what's happening on the displayed order side.
The approval SC based on substance evidence presented to them.
The commission's finding at Appendix 55 to 56,
man, there's
the people who
a
are
lot.
doing those trades,
A lot going on. I mean, I'll roll up through them really slow, and if you want, you can go one by one and look at them.
Those high-frequency traders include Citadel. Citadel is trading on behalf of retail investors. That's the phrase it uses. Citadel pays
it's pretty much getting to the good parts right now.
To brokers in order to get those retail orders so that it can batch them, route them as it sees fit, internalize them if necessary, and profit off of them. That's Citadel's model, and that's why the retail investor is really just
all right. I got about an hour streaming, so I figured I'd stream
sure I understood what you just said. Are you saying
the hearing? So basically,
when Citadel says that 40%
the SEC Commission did not ignore Citadel's
IEX
data. Arbitrage wasn't caused by the SEC, mentioned by Citadel. IEX interviewer, then the IDX interviewer targets stale quotes by placing large orders. Then only high-frequency trader profits and stale quotes.
As I mentioned, Judge Walker, why such a vast percentage of those trades is happening in those couple microseconds. You have dozens of commenters saying we cannot use the technology that these high-frequency traders have in order to do this. There's a comment from Themis Trading that says we are in the middle of a speed war that we never signed up to
Let's
fund.
go.
The only people who are able to exploit those microseconds are high
Fucking
frequency
Yankee
traders
ape.
like Citadel and like Virtue, which supported this.
Like how this is on this
I know my
on the
time is up,
rising
and I do
candle.
want to briefly.
I do have one question. Citadel suggests that really
And their
it's
headline is
IEX
this right
that's
here. It's
engaging
not about.
in
It's just
latency
not about
arbitrage by
this. You know what I'm saying? It's
repricing,
not about
by
just this.
automatically
They got
repricing
this in
when
here
the
with it.
indicator is triggered. I mean, what do you make
Kind of
about
funny.
that argument?
I think, to begin with, I think it's a little bit rich because I think, as even some of Citadel's amici acknowledge, and I'm talking about the Vollmer brief at footnote 5, there have been a number of innovations that other exchanges have implemented, including NASDAQ, NYSE, that are designed to either supply co-location, more auspicious location for a fee, or faster data connections for a fee. So, far from latency arbitrage, what IEX was founded to do was to actually try to level the playing field so that the daily investors, the people who are actually putting retirement money into retirement funds that are managed by these long-term fundamental investors, so they have a shot. Because no one else is able, as I said, to exploit those microseconds except for high-frequency traders. The other thing, I guess, to mention, Judge Rao, is when that price crumbles, that is what IEX is doing in those moments is essentially fighting fire with fire. Because the reason that the high-frequency traders are able to exploit
Citadel is going down. All right. Now we got both chats going. IEX interviewers just took over the court proceedings. Why is Citadel placing large orders targeting those microseconds, targeting still keeping retail investors as a shield. Yee.
I don't think, Judge Rao, that it's right to say
you like that? Is it better? I'm getting back into the hang of things.
Like IEX is somehow qualitatively different than, say, a geographic delay. Exchanges make choices all the time about where to locate their servers.
IEX is a better lawyer than the SEC, maybe.
Chicago, Miami. Exchanges make choices all the time.
That's a hilarious comment that comes in.
Traders all the time for even locating servers
maybe they should switch places
in order to make sure that those servers are more quickly
IEX is slaughtering
Exchanges
Citadel.
for ages have tried to make sure that to the extent everybody's paying the same price but are located in different parts of the room, that there's extra in order to make sure that there's no tiny latency between the server at the north end of the room.
Sorry. Just want to see what's going on.
Are examples of what we would call geographic latencies, but they're just as intentional as anything that IEX designed. And what the commission concluded in 2016 was that the immediate language means so de minimis that it doesn't interfere with fair and efficient trading. Now, the argument Mr. Wall offered, Ms. Parisi is exactly right. This is exactly the argument that was offered in 2016, that immediate means immediate. Immediate, though, does not mean instantaneous.
There's no video.
If you, Judge Rao, asked me to come to your chambers immediately,
I bet there's like 30 Citadel lawyers there.
If you asked me to come to your chambers instantaneously, I would say, I'm sorry, I'm not capable of doing that. There's a difference between immediate and instantaneous, and that difference is within the commission's bailiwick and purview to interpret. What it came down to in 2016 is exactly what it comes down to today, which is, does this de minimis delay interfere with the fair and efficient execution of an order? What IEX is
your view, Ms. Stetson, that immediate is ambiguous, and so we should defer to the SEC's interpretation?
I think that is the SEC's position, and I can see the merit in that position for precisely the reason I just said. I think when people think about immediate, and you're not thinking in terms of these eye blink moments, immediate might mean something very different. But when you're talking about these eye blink moments, immediate has to mean something that's a little bit more accommodating. It's exactly why the commission, even with its protected quotes, builds in a 1 second essentially grace period. No one is found to be in violation of the rule as long as that quote changed a second or less before whatever order they executed. There's an acknowledgement that the systems can only go as fast as the systems can go. And here where you have
Hey, Observe, how you doing?
Yo,
how we doing? What up, Rocky?
Go as fast as the system can go. The geographic delay, if you would, between immediate and instantaneous.
Good to see you, brother.
Recognize
Good to see you.
that's as fast as the system can go. Here you are deliberately putting or you're not, but the rulemaking is deliberately putting a delay into the course of the transaction that takes it out of the instantaneous, but may also take it out of the immediate. Isn't there a difference between the geographic delay that is inherent and unavoidable and the inserted delay of the roadblock, which is inevitable?
Judge Santel, two answers. The first is that, as Ms. Parisi mentioned, that is exactly the
SEC
that was made in
court
2016,
hearing.
in which the
Rising Candle or whatever, but they got the AMC GameStop
and
the
as I just
the
mentioned
logo
to Judge
for it.
Rao,
That was pretty cool.
The idea that geographic latencies are unavoidable is simply not the case.
Dude, I had fun too. What up,
make
D?
choices all the time about
Dude,
where to locate their servers,
I had a great time.
how fast to connect their particular customers.
Can't wait till we get a gaming night in to where I can
where
pull
in
you in,
as I said, to locate
and we can
the
do a
server. Those
picture
are
on
all
picture. I can keep you right here,
to some degree or another.
kind of like what we're doing right now.
Distinction between the kind of coil
I can
delay
keep you on the screen right here on the big screen.
And the kind of coil delays that are common in other servers,
and we can
including,
talk
as I said,
Discord.
to try to equalize high-frequency traders' access if they are slightly different from each other in a room, such that one gets to another, 1 microsecond before. All of those are intentional choices. And what the Commission concluded in 2016 and reiterated here is that word immediate in this context means a delay that is so de minimis.
He had the hair flowing today.
There's no human interference.
He used that leave-in conditioner.
This immediate order began to exist. It's so de minimis as not to interfere with fair and efficient access. And I think what Mr. Rawls' client is seeking is what we would say is unfair access, because they are seeking to exploit that tiny moment of time when a price is changing before other people, other liquidity providers and liquidity takers are able to get there. And I want to perhaps end on this if there are no further questions. This is discrimination against a type of high-frequency trader that engages in predatory latency arbitrage. That is the discrimination, if we want to use that word that we're talking about. What the SEC concluded, what IEX submitted, and what the SEC evaluated and adopted was that this delimit order helps the market overall. It helps liquidity providers. It helps market makers. That's why you have XTX and Virtue joining these comments. It helps liquidity takers because it ensures that liquidity actually exists and isn't just shifting over to the dark markets or off exchange. This order helps the market overall. The people it doesn't help are the people who are trying to essentially skim that predatory tax off of a changing price. If there are no further questions.
Any further questions? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sorry, yes.
Yeah. Were you saying, Ms. Stetson, that immediately is ambiguous, or you win if it's ambiguous and you also win if it's unambiguous?
The latter. I think what the SEC said in its brief, I think in a footnote, is that the interpretation is owed deference under Kaiser. That's clearly true, just given the length and the thoroughness and the consideration, the specificity of what we're talking about, the technicalities of what we're talking about. But if it's unambiguous, then we win also. So the answer is both.
Thank you, Ms. Stetson. Ms. Raw, I'm not sure you have time left, but we will give you an additional 2 minutes for rebuttal.
So 3 quick points. Let me start with Rule 611. You're right, Judge Walker. Regulation NMS did create the fragmentation, the protected quote, stitches it back together, and it's important to enforce it. The language of the regulation is not anything about interference with fair and efficient trading. It says immediately and automatically executes an order. And you're right, Judge Rao. Immediate, of course, things take time to do, and it doesn't mean you're not doing them immediately. But when you introduce an intentional delay, it's no longer immediate, and when you tinker with the quote, it's no longer automatic.
Well, can you respond to Ms. Stetson's point that it's actually that there are intentional ways that that traders affect geographic latency, so it's not really qualitatively different to have something like the speed bump.
Sure. So 2 points. One, it's not true in practice, as we explained at page 372 of the JA. When we have a large order, Citadel sends it out to the exchanges simultaneously. Sure, there's a little bit of geographic latency as you go to the different exchanges, but the difference isn't large enough to allow anybody else to see what's happening on the other exchanges and react. So because we have a best execution obligation, we send it out everywhere at once. This is lengthening the delay, as Judge Santel said, and it allows everybody at IEX to see what's going on, and then they reprice. And the second thing is, it's just not a natural way to use the language, Judge Brown. Sure, I tell my kids to immediately make their bed in the morning. They got to get out of bed and turn on the light. Nobody thinks they didn't comply with my instruction. But we sure do if they get up and read books or play with toys for a while. And in case you think there's any doubt about that, all you need to do is look at the adopting release with Rule 611. It says at page 534, it's not automated if you have any other type of intentional device that would delay the action. The commission read it exactly the way you do.
But Mr. Wall, it seems that Citadel pays for those devices on several other exchanges. So tell me if I have the facts wrong. I'm imagining Citadel and Company X that are equidistant from an exchange.
Price is changing.
And so they send a communication to the exchange at the exact same moment. But Citadel has paid extra money to that exchange so that its receiver is a little closer than the competitor's receiver is. I'm imagining a room with computers in it, and there's like a box for Citadel and a box for the competitor. I'm sure this is probably vastly oversimplified, but Citadel pays the exchange money so that its receiver is in a better position, a better distance, a better location in that room than Company X. Does that happen?
Judge Walker, I think maybe it did years and years ago, and it's a wonderful narrative. I grant you, like, it's a great story that Ms. Stetson told, but no, in this day and age, it's not true.
I mean, Mr. Wall, and it's not.
I feel you.
We had a case last month about Skybeams communicating.
I'm just hearing what they have to say.
I don't think there was any party.
If there's going to be anything interesting,
actually
said.
But none of them disagreed.
Nothing to get my hopes up for.
Where companies pay a little bit more money to an exchange like NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange to have their little box closer than everyone else's little box. It's very expensive real estate.
Yeah, no, Judge Walker, what I was going to say was some exchanges deal with this by having standard length cables, and the exchanges that don't have that, everybody pays to co-locate. So XTX, Virtue, Two Sigma, all the firms that Ms. Stetson named that are Citadel's competitors, they're all right there. There is no latency.
But aren't some?
I'm not saying they're not paying for it. I'm saying
I'm not saying they're not paying for it.
To latency arbitrage because everybody's got the same connectivity and everybody's got the same data feed. They may be paying.
There's no co-location at an exchange that's slightly better than another co-location at an exchange.
Judge Walker,
Rock, if you want, you're in a meeting. You're supposed to be in a meeting on your house, man. How's that going?
When you talk to traders, and at a minimum, the commission didn't put on that kind of evidence. That's the interesting thing.
You know, we could always start our own little
what you're playing out and what Ms. Stetson
plantation,
said.
Rocky.
Easy, right? We ought to come in with examples. But there's facts on the ground, right? We could just show where the servers are and all the co-location stuff. The commission didn't do that, and it didn't even try to take actual trades and say, here's the latency arbitrage. It looked at aggregate statistics and said, see, those show that there's a lot of stuff going on when the signal is turning on. And this was the second point I was going to make in the rebuttal, which is none of that shows what's turning the signal on. So Ms. Stetson is right that at page 88 of the joint appendix, they say large orders don't turn it on. Okay. But when they say, as shown by the data above, all that they're pointing to on pages 87 and 88 is the stuff about there being a lot of trading when the signal is on. And we put in this actual order at page 372 of the joint appendix. We said, here's an actual order on behalf of retail investors. It triggered the signal just because it's a large order. Has nothing to do with arbitrage. And as I stand here today, having read everything in this case, I still don't understand what the commission's basic response is to the fact that this is the kind of trade that turns it on, because it makes sense, right? You're taking a lot across a lot of exchanges. IEX is watching that. Of course, it's going to predict that the price is going to move. The signal is going to come on. By definition, it's probably a good-sized trade or good number of orders, right? Because you need a whole lot of liquidity. This is a small player. It doesn't have a lot of liquidity. So then it says, oh, we have a lot of things going on in our shop when the signal comes on. Of course you do. It's exactly what you would expect. All of the markout data, the spread crossing, it's exactly what you would expect to see if large orders turn the signal on. And so I would just point back to the commission's order. And the third thing I would say, Judge Walker, to go to your policy with Ms. Stetson,
refresh Streamlabs, so if it plays
Ms.
something,
Parisi said, look, it's commonplace to do this as a matter of routing. That's not true. Citadel sends these orders on behalf of retail investors to exchanges simultaneously when it's a large order. We explain that to the commission. There's nothing to the contrary in the record. Could we reroute, hold back orders, and go to IEX first? We could, with the costs I explained earlier. Either higher costs or missed executions to retail investors who won't get the bulk of what they want because the IEX tail is wagging the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ dog. Now, Ms. Stetson takes it another direction. She says, oh, well, they're batching, they're bundling, and so it's evidence of latency arbitrage. And with all respect to Ms. Stetson, that's false. We told the commission it's false. I'm happy to supplementally brief it. We have best execution obligations. Citadel does not batch and try to time retail orders. It may fill some of them internally.
Mr. Watt, how does that work if 15% of the retail orders are coming in when the signal is on? I mean, that. How do you explain that?
So that part I think is fairly straightforward to address. Citadel handles more retail than anybody in the country. We have 40% of the retail orders on behalf of investors out there in the country, right? So we have a lot of.
I would love to see
some small orders, and some one-offs, and sometimes
in this room with them.
It doesn't have a lot.
In all honesty, that would be you and Jamie.
So you send a lot of
that would be some fun shit.
But the large orders that we see, that's the 15%. And what
that would be awesome.
Is that 15% will turn.
Just if you could have your like 5 minute.
99.3%
your 5 minute
in volume were large orders. Once our retail orders got large enough, they triggered the signal and it came on. And the commission's response to that at page 88 is just Ipsy-Dixit. All it says is, oh, but look at our data. There's a lot going on when the signal comes on. Of course there's a lot going on. We're sending large retail orders. That's the 15%. Others are sending more large orders and fewer small orders than Citadel. So that's why, even though it's only 15% for us, it creeps up to 24% of volume, 33% of orders. But it's all the same phenomenon. And just to close, Judge Walker, with where I was before, these retail orders, they're not like, there's nothing misleading about saying on behalf of retail investors. The example we gave at page 372 of the joint appendix is real. Maybe it's TD Ameritrade, maybe it's Schwab, maybe it's a pension fund, an institutional investor, they want a lot of shares. We don't hold that back and wait to take it to the market in some moment of arbitrage. We'd be violating best execution obligations if we did.
And how did the 15% show up in that fraction, that tiny fraction of a second?
Oh, Judge Rao, that is the key to the whole thing. Right there. They're not showing up when the signal is on. That's what the other side.
They're triggering the signal.
They're triggering the signal because IEX is sitting there and looking at these orders hit the other exchanges and saying, wow, there's a spike in demand or a spike in supply. So the offer is going to go up or the bid is going to go down. And so they're turning on the signal. And then the order gets there having hit the speed bump. And they treat that order, once it hits, as the volume or the order that they're talking about hitting when the signal is on. So, of course, there's a lot.
He's trying to be like, oh, that. Yes, that.
Price changes,
yes.
Watch what's happening on other
but
markets.
It didn't do that. It did this. They did this. We didn't do that. They did this.
Of course you see markout data showing that the price is running away from the liquidity.
Isn't this just a race between the technology of your client and the technology of IEX to go back and forth? I mean, isn't that ultimately in the market what's happening?
Oh, I don't think so. It might be a race between Citadel and 2 Sigma and XTX and Virtue and all the other high-frequency traders that, as I said, Judge Walker, have the same connectivity and same data. But no other exchange is doing this, right? This is pretty novel. Exchanges are meant to be platforms. They're meant to facilitate trading. This is an exchange, the only one, right, that's doing this, that's reaching in and repricing the quotes themselves. And that's a sort of novel thing. And to get back to where I started, if you conclude on the first issue that they can have the delimit order, even though they haven't shown you real evidence of latency arbitrage, and even if they have, Judge Walker, they haven't looked at the costs. They've not looked at the cost of retail and the cost of routing. Still during the argument, no one has addressed the cost of these rerouting changes. But even if you conclude that, you can't have it be protected under Rule 611 for the reason that Judge Sintel got at earlier. It just doesn't square with the language of the regulation, right? Protected quote is meant to stitch back that fragmentation that you were talking about, Judge Walker, and it does it by looking at the best bid and offer as a result of market forces. If they want to tinker with those, we don't think they should be allowed to. But what they can't do then is say, well, that should be treated the same as every
link
other
on my
bid
Twitter
offer
is
that is
dead.
actually
Like,
the
it doesn't
market
work.
forces.
That link
Let
doesn't
them
work.
compete in the open
Okay.
marketplace. If liquidity
Well,
providers like it,
I appreciate
they'll go
it.
there, and liquidity takers will have to
I
go
tried.
there for liquidity.
Didn't work.
That's what
I
Canada
failed.
did when they did the same thing. No
Oh, well.
protected quotes.
Let's go in
Let
there and delete
everybody
it.
have incentives to use the exchange and then decide. Let the marketplace decide.
And
At
Mr.
a
Wall,
minimum,
I'll stop, Judge Rao.
Oh, no, Mr. Judge Walker, if you have
That
another question,
sucks.
please. Go ahead.
I'll ask just one more. Then your last statement about just letting the market play out. Here, it seems to be that's what IEX wants to do, and it's you who is going to a federal agency and saying stop a private entity, IEX, from doing what they want to do. You're the one who's trying to kind of regulate your way into a market victory.
So, all respect, Judge Walker, I think we see it a little bit differently, right? Which is we don't want the exchanges, that's right, to interfere with the market forces themselves. Private parties in the marketplace through buying and selling should be determining prices, not the exchanges. The Exchange Act says they are meant to facilitate a fair and open market, not that they're meant to pick winners and losers and reprice their quotes. But even if you think I'm wrong about that, I think clearly they're not pro-market force on the Rule 611 side. If they really believed this innovation story, they would do what CBOE did when it submitted its proposal. It didn't say its quote should be protected. It said, let us do this. The commission disagreed. It flipped here for reasons it hasn't really addressed.
I guess
but
when I
what
tweeted
IEX
it just
wants is the best of both
posted the picture
worlds.
only.
It wants to be able to do the innovation,
what
but then
happened?
say that these quotes are protected, notwithstanding the regulatory text, so that it can lock liquidity takers into coming there, which drives up its revenues. Because let's be really clear, Judge Walker, IEX makes money in two ways. It makes money by having protected quotes at the best bid and offer, and by having more trading volume. This change hasn't driven up in the real world its actual
latency arbitrage.
It's not actually helping the market,
at least
but it does drive up the amount
10 to 12 years ago. This is
at what's called the NBBO, the best bidder offer. And that means more money by the millions from this Stetson
12 years ago.
If they want to do that in the marketplace, let them do it. But they should not be able to do it by virtue of Rule 611. Either because the regulatory text is clear, or because they can't qualify for Kaiser because they flipped, or because at a minimum, even if the de minimis exception exists, they didn't analyze it here in this order with respect to displayed prices. At a minimum, this court should vacate, remand with vacature of that part of
let me try it one more
order.
time.
And obviously, we have not discussed today the remedy, but I think clearly this is the standard.
Obviously.
If you're going to remand, you should vacate.
Thank you very much. Case is submitted.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So that was a lot. So let's. We're all going to talk about it. I'm not sure the best way to handle it. First, I just want to say though, off the bat, that this was I would call this a great day for retail investors. We're all here. We have about 3,700 people in this room, and I was looking at the United States Court of Appeals streaming service on YouTube, and on average, they get a couple hundred people that view their hearings on a daily basis. Not on a daily basis, overall, right? So 3 weeks ago, there was a hearing held, and 350 views.
What up, Shepard's
Today
Unicorn?
alone, there were 8,500 people listening to this oral argument today. I mean, that is an astounding number. As a lawyer myself, I don't even listen to these things every day, but at least I have some interest in them. The fact that individual retail investors and people out there actually tuned in to listen to an oral
Just
argument
because you
today.
know, like if I know you and you come back in here and you got a blue wrench,
and it really is a
Trey
great
Spotting
day
Ray, what up, guys?
to be a retail
What's up, Andrew?
investor.
You
And
get a blue
I just
wrench
want
if
to
I know you
get
because
that
we got
point
the
across.
mod squad.
I know there's a lot of people in here that weren't in at the very beginning.
Hey, appreciate it, brother.
So just a quick overview. Today's argument was
Did you go live?
Citadel against the SEC.
Is
It was
this
an
linked
appellate
on
argument.
Discord?
Standard of proof that Citadel
No, I don't
would
think
need
I
to
linked it in
establish to
Discord. No.
overturn this SEC rule is very,
Just
very
posted
high.
a picture of
extremely
me
high.
watching it.
It's known as what's the arbitrary and capricious standard. Basically, they have to show that the agency actions were arbitrary and capricious and abuse of discretion or otherwise not in accordance with the law.
Very US
it's a very,
style.
very high standard.
You need to make
that they have
not
to
so much
set
head,
forth.
huh?
And based upon the arguments that were set
Like
forth
that?
today, I would say that they didn't even come close. There was a lot of smoke
Mod
and mirrors
squad,
and a
let's
lot
go.
of
There's another
arguments
one.
being made, but none of the arguments were legitimately sufficient to reach that level of scrutiny to get this overturned. Now,
Judge Walker.
they mentioned a couple of things throughout the appeal, throughout the argument, in regards to standards and whether or not certain things were meant. One of the things they mentioned was Kaiser, and that's another case. They were referencing another case that basically set forth a test to determine whether an agency's regulatory interpretation is sufficient and whether or not it should be overturned. And some of the things the courts look at is whether their interpretation was reasonable. Was the interpretation based upon fair and considered judgment of the agency, and a bunch of other things that basically it's like a checks and balance, right? They're saying, should we give deference, right? Ultimately, when a court has a case like this and they're looking at a regulatory agency's rule or an interpretation of a rule, at the end of the day, they always fall back on the idea that vast deference should be given to the agency, because after all, what's the point of having the agency if they're not going to be the ones that can be trusted with handling
what up,
this
Daniel?
Type of stuff? So I don't want to be the only person to talk. So I'm gonna open it up to
everybody protect the profit
whoever wants to speak, and then I'll interject as we go along
heard it earlier.
myself as well, and cite the specific
basically recite everything off of paper about what was positive,
the most interesting,
and not
and in terms of the judges,
and slightly say stuff about the negative.
Walker, really, we're not buying any of this throughout the entirety of the proceeding. Judge Santel, he was a little grumpy. Maybe he woke up on the wrong side of the bed or didn't get to have his coffee this morning. But yeah, I think judges will sometimes not want to show. They'll maintain a poker face or Santel.
Not want to show.
Yeah, he was a little iffy, and but I still think he's going to go in line with Rayo and Walker at the end of the day. So I'm not going to keep blabbering. So again, if somebody else wants to talk.
What the hell? Was you watching me earlier? That's why you call out my Red Bull? Tasting like crap? Believe me, I know it tastes like crap. But they didn't have another monster, okay? They didn't have another monster. So I had to get this, and you just have to make a reference about Red Bull today.
One of them is leaning into the standard overview and trying to
let me just choke this down, because normally I already had this drink.
The other one is trying to obfuscate, create muddied waters. It's pretty clear just from the outset in the tone and the presentation.
All right, there you go.
Which party has a
actually worse than what everybody ever thought it was.
You could see just in the styles of presentation, Citadel got there up first. Their presentation was clear. But when the SEC came up and just laid into,
I need some wings.
This is why we.
So I switched. The Red Bull was giving me too, or the monster was giving me too much bull. Maybe the Red Bull would give me a little bit of something else. I don't even know. Some wings. I need a bull with wings. Maybe I need
exactly what their arguments were.
Maybe I mix it up.
The first two
maybe I mix a monster and a Red Bull.
Was that the SEC failed to consider the harm to retail,
or maybe I just smoked some herbs.
The, turning off of the delimit orders. That was a straw man argument that Citadel had set up in the first place, and I think
we got wings now.
Minor discussion and questions
we're getting ready to have clouds
directed towards that particular topic, because the judges just saw through that as a relative matter, which that itself is that much more frustrating, that this would be the leading argument that is so transparent that it doesn't really garner much attention, much weight. And the questions that are designed around flushing out what Citadel's interpretation of representing retail investors, they were all designed with skepticism in mind, as opposed to drawing out elements of support. So I think that's kind of where the court's mind is on that point. What I found interesting, though not entirely surprising, because it was also a straw man, is that the second primary argument in Citadel's brief is that the SEC had considered a prior similar proposed rule, 6 months ago, and that because the SEC rejected the similar rule in Citadel's characterization in that instance, but not here.
But
that's a departure
does anybody else feel really weird when they smoke out of a chillum?
No one spent any time on that.
I don't know, man. I feel like a crackhead sometimes when I smoke out of chillums.
You were taking maybe more diligent notes than I.
Maybe I should get a bowl.
I didn't hear any discussion of that, and that's not a surprise, because there were so many differentiating factors.
Thank you.
And this rule proposal, that it is just standard form and course for what to occur to happen. So I think when you're trying to budget,
my tobacco tastes pretty good,
and of course you want to budget your time towards things that have weight. It was clear that no one was placing any weight on that particular argument or angle. So I think that argument also falls away relatively succinctly.
Like complete utter shit.
The thrust of the analysis that will come out is on this argument around immediacy, and whether the Kaiser deference that Attorney for the Lawyers had outlined quickly earlier.
I know you got a Slurpee.
Number one, be triggered, and number
I know
two,
you got alcohol.
Triggered.
Sounds pretty good, actually.
Dispositive. How much?
Maybe if you can make like
in this particular
frozen,
instance, the outcome.
What are those things called? Like the frozen ice. Like what are those things called? With the flavored on it? You should do that as a drink. Not really a drink, but something you eat.
There's a strong argument to be made.
Man, what are those called?
Of course, that immediate does not mean instantaneous, because of the physical limitations of the world.
Like that is with dabs and a torch. Yes, dabs and a torch. Make sure you ain't got a spoon sitting around, then you'll really feel like one.
The foundation for IEX's initial registration as an exchange.
One of my buddies, I was rolling a blunt, and I was taking Italian ice.
Is the word
I was taking some resin, or not resin, but some live resin. And I was coating the blunt. I took a spoon out, and I coated it. I heated up the resin and dumped it on the blunt and coated it out. And he's like, "What the fuck are you putting on the blunt?" I'm like, "I promise, it's just live resin."
No one really leaned into objecting to the interpretation or challenging the interpretation.
I don't even know if this guy is what this is that we're going on with right here.
But if it is ambiguous, then the SEC's interpretation needs to be reasonable. Here, I would find it hard to interpret immediate as instantaneous, such as the support comment letter also stated. So,
I think that issue, Alex, just to sort of jump in, like the immediacy issue is such a kind of absurd thing. I understand why it's getting focused on, but it's as with so many of these things, it's so disingenuous of an issue, right? Because first of all, as the judges pointed out, as IEX I think pointed out, all quotes have a delay in being executed against, and the reason that the IEX speed bump was structured as it was to mimic the geographic delay. It was to get rid of that essentially artificial delay. Right? Exchanges could have put all of their matching engines in the same data center, and they could have made it so that they were all faster than their fastest participants. And then you wouldn't have the opportunity for latency arbitrage, and you wouldn't have the opportunity for delays against quotes that are not immediately executable, or even having this debate, but they didn't, because that wouldn't have made them as much money. Right, and so it just strikes me as absurd that not only are they trying to make the point that this is being artificially delayed, but they're not even addressing this idea that exchanges selling speed advantages to the fastest firms isn't the complete other side of that coin. Right, the other side of that coin is that if an exchange facilitates some firms being faster than others, then they're putting a delay on those others, right? And they're doing so purposefully. And so there were so many, honestly, like I know the legal question is for you guys, for the lawyers, and I think that there's a lot here in this court case from a legal perspective that's probably fascinating. Obviously, my interest here is market structure, and I just thought that there were some serious bombshells that blew my mind in just that quick, whatever it was, 20, 25 minutes of a hearing, including Citadel acknowledging that there was latency arbitrage at least 10 or 12 years ago. People might see me make a big deal of the fact that the SEC in their brief acknowledged that there was latency arbitrage, and that Citadel just admitted that there was latency arbitrage. But I think what people here have to understand, who haven't been doing this for the last 10 years, is that when Flash Boys came out, and when IEX was formed, and when Flash Boys came out, the whole thing was about latency arbitrage. And the industry mobilized to say that that was an absurd claim. Not just that it was wrong, but it was absurd. And they tried to gaslight those who were making the claim by saying, no, that didn't exist. Of course that doesn't exist. It's not actionable. It can't be done. And yet here, in the span of a couple of months, we've had the regulator come out and admit the existence of latency arbitrage and say that IEX proved that it existed. And we've just had Citadel come out and say that 10 to 12 years ago there was latency arbitrage. Of course, he's not going to say now there is, but it follows very simply from the things that he had said and the way that we're defining this, that of course there are still issues, that of course there are still firms that are faster than others. Ken Griffin said that, right? He said that recently, that the fastest firm wins. So even though, I think from a legal perspective, this case is probably, not as, impressive or controversial or even close. It seems, open and shut to me from a legal perspective, but from a market structure perspective, the things that are coming out and the debate that this is forcing again is getting us back to when Flash Boys first came out, back to this argument of what should market structure look like and why should it be that firms that are faster enjoy an advantage, and why is it okay for exchanges that are self-regulatory and quasi-governmental agencies to be selling speed advantages to certain firms and making it so that their drive to reduce latency is a profitable one? And why is Citadel coming out so strongly against an order type that simply prevents the execution of orders at stale prices? Because they admitted they want to execute against those stale prices. That's exactly what IEX said. That was IEX's point in the hearing. Citadel is sitting here and they're telling on themselves. And they're, it's not complicated. It's not nuanced. They're saying that we want to be able to execute against stale prices. This is what IEX is saying, right? This is not based on any insight or, knowledge that I have of anything other than what is public record right now, is that, they're coming out and they're saying we need those stale prices. And then you start to ask the question of, well, why is Virtu not saying the same thing? Why is XTX, other high-frequency trading firms, not saying the same thing? And I thought the point was made really well. I think it was the IEX lawyer who said that these are market makers. They're comfortable with these kinds of features because they help market makers and they hurt latency arbitrageurs. And to me, that's the crux of the market structure side of this. And I kind of can't communicate what a big deal this is, given the fights that have been had over the last 10 years around this exact debate. So it's really just fascinating and exciting to me.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dave, and Alex. Also, really great points. And it's really, to me, it goes back to the idea that when this was all going on and they initially filed this lawsuit, this was months and months before January, and I feel like that Citadel didn't see this coming. Like they sort of like ran into a brick wall. For all the, like you said prior, Dave, what was the rationale in even, pursuing this? And then forget, and that was before January, you would even ask that same question. But now with everything that's going on and all the awareness, to basically come out into open court and to make these statements, and to not only make them, but to be double downing and triple downing on them. I mean, they kept insisting, and the attorney stated at one point, "There's nothing misleading about our assertion that we are here in support of the retail investor." I mean, I still can't understand how they can continuously make that assertion over and over again. I know they had nothing else to really say, but it's still bizarre that they said it in open court over and over again with 8,500 people listening plus. And then of course IEX mentioned specifically that this is a predatory tactic. This is predatory. This is intentional methodology that they implement by purchasing this very expensive equipment so they can get an edge upon everybody else and basically be a predator against the retail investor, not actually exchange on behalf of the retail investor. At one point, I was waiting for Chris Hansen to come in and take somebody away.
Joey, yeah.
The Chris Hansen joke wasn't bad. It was just bad timing because I didn't have my phone close enough to unmute. I thought that was actually pretty funny.
I wish Twitter had a confetti emoji.
Right.
Yeah, I was curious to hear everyone's thoughts on Citadel's argument in defense of their statements that they would represent retail investors. Obviously, I have my own, but I was curious to go around the table and see if anyone felt that they were persuasive.
Well, I mean, obviously, my views are probably clear, but I really I thought that the judge's questioning at that moment was good, and I thought at the very least, in terms of the court case, it seemed to kind of expose at least where I think it was Rao where she stood, which was that it's kind of difficult for you to make this case that you're trading on behalf of retail when such a high percentage of that volume is concentrated in the microseconds around a price level change. And again, that's Citadel did make some very clear claims in terms of, they said they're not batching orders, and I believe them because I don't think they batch orders per se. I think that they execute those orders as they come in, but they batch the layoff, right? They were very clear about the language. He was very clear about the language that he was using. And Citadel, when it takes the other side of a trade, it doesn't have to lay off that trade or internalize it or lay it off immediately. No market maker does. This isn't specific to Citadel. This is how market making works. You get exposure on one side or another. You build inventory. When your inventory risk gets too high, or when you think you're able to get out of that inventory risk, at a profit, you act. And so that's what I think is the underlying dynamic here, that they're trying to like a magician, moving their hand quickly in one direction. They're trying to misdirect you to looking over there, while they're actually, doing something on the other side of it. And I think that was a bit, again, like that was a bit absurd to claim that a material percentage of retail is crowding in at the moments around a price change. They'll try and say that's the cause of a price change, but that's, come on. Retail is not sweeping the market.
It would have been only more absurd if they blamed it on like 5G and they said, well, the connections have gotten so much quicker, so that's why this is happening. I mean, literally. As far as the questions, from the judges, I think even more so than Citadel's answers, I think the questions that were being asked are very telling of the mindset of the judges, and I think that's a good thing.
It is, and I think the precision of the language that Dave is pointing out, this isn't a universal maxim, but in corporate legal circles, there's pretty much a direct relationship between the billable hour rate and the preciseness of the language being used, because that precision is where you find gray area. The precision of the language is how you can sit at a Senate hearing, for example, and say that you covered but you didn't close, right? Those are different concepts. Those are different things. So as long as you craft your language precisely enough, you can express a message that, while technically true, may not be painting the entire picture. And one example of that I saw frequently being employed here by Citadel's counsel.
Sorry, Dan, I missed you as a moderator. Got you now.
The
Got you.
term,
Mod squad.
takers, right? Liquidity takers. They kept saying this is going to impair liquidity takers. You know, this is an all liquidity maker rule. It's designed to just build additional liquidity on IEX, and it's purely for their profit incentive. But really, what's the truth of the matter is that the number of liquidity takers being impacted here has been quantified to at max 5. They were the 5 proprietary trading firms that IEX had identified as being the primary participants during this very small signal window. So to say this is impacting liquidity takers is a very broad brush. It's a large.
What? Did I lose it?
Uh-oh. I don't know if it's just me. I think we're losing Alex.
Okay, so
Yeah, I can't hear either.
He got Twitterized, but I know he was on the move, so hopefully he'll come back into better signal.
Citadel themselves are.
I did like when the IEX lawyer made the point that blinking your eyes is 200 times longer than the IEX speed bump. I mean, you know, this is, as someone who has operated at these speed tolerances and these latencies, it's hard to get people to understand. Like, it's hard for humans to understand what microseconds mean in real life. And, you know, that was a good way to kind of drive it home. But, you know, there was some discussion as to whether, you know, latency reduction has improved markets, and it's a point that I've sort of been making for a long time, is that I don't think there's any clear evidence that is, you know, that latency reduction on the order of microseconds has improved markets, and especially has improved them materially so to offset the damage that is caused by the latency speed race. You know, it's not really something that the court was going to get into, but it was sort of hinted at and talked around. And so again, you know, to see some of these issues being elevated and reaching this level, I think is very encouraging. And you know, hopefully this is just sort of the beginning of a real deep dialogue on it, and some more market structure reforms.
In that regard, when they turned down dark fiber, which kind of plays into the bandwidth, how do you think that affected the efficiencies or at least price discovery?
Yeah, I don't think that had anything. I don't think that had any impact, honestly. I just don't think that affected firms. You know, dark fiber is fiber that's not being used. These firms had no issues with that. You know, a lot of them send signals wirelessly anyway at this point, because there's actually a speed difference. So a fiber optic line running in a straight line is still slower than a laser going from, you know, those same point A to point B, because the light inside a fiber optic line bounces off the sides of the line.
Got friction.
And it introduces nanoseconds, maybe a microsecond of latency, whereas that doesn't occur on a laser. So, you know, these are the kind of tolerances we're talking about, and this is the kind of engineering that people are doing, you know, to make more money in markets, not because it's making markets more efficient or improving execution quality, but because it's helping them win this race to pick off stale quotes.
I usually make bad jokes when I'm outraged, so the idea came to mind of, well, so basically this comes down to like guys buying laser pointers, you know, if it's retail doing it anyway, guys buying, you know, laser pointers at their local 7-Eleven, and that's how they're you know, doing these exceptionally exorbitantly fast trades and causing all this problem, because it's surely not, the hedge funds or the market makers that are causing the issue. It's comical.
Right, yeah.
One thing I do want to point out that's not directly about the case itself, but just something that I find interesting, just as a lawyer, it's that the judges were very prepared today. They really were.
Guys, here in about 3 minutes, I'm gonna have to go. I can keep the thing going or in the stream, and I plan on streaming at
what
like
was going on, and I bring that up because what drives me crazy
5 p.m.
is
Central.
when they had those hearings, in Congress.
Oh yeah.
Those
you guys see all the bullshit I
those
get
members
to go
of Congress,
through.
they don't know how to ask questions. They never ask the right questions, and it frustrates me that most
Look
of
at
these
this.
guys
I
are
block
actually
this guy,
lawyers
I
at one
swear,
point.
every week.
But I always make the joke that
But
a member
somehow
of
he
Congress couldn't
keeps coming
litigate
back
their way out
up
of a paper bag.
every week.
And
Look
I
at this
know
stuff.
it's
Even this,
frustrating, and I know it's
like
slow
every time.
and because justice is slow. But I feel like getting this stuff into the courts, is the way to get a lot of this out in the open. And I think today proved that a lot of things come to light through the judicial system, especially when you ask the right questions. And I think the lawyers were very prepared, and I think the judges were very prepared, and I think a lot of good questions were asked, and a lot of good information
all around
came out of this, and that's going to lead to a snowball effect and create even more questions that need to be asked. And I think this is important because it shows how important the other litigations are that are currently pending. And I wish that there was more open access to those courts in terms of virtual appearances, so we can listen in on the multi-district litigation in the short squeeze case that's going on in Florida against Citadel and Robinhood. We're sort of limited to only the papers that are filed. We don't get to really see any of the inside action and the oral arguments or any of those presentations, which is unfortunate because I think we would learn a lot more as retail investors. And I think that's why it's so important to stay informed and up to date with everything that's going on, because this is really about AMC and GME are very important, but this is really important about retail in general, right? We retail investors in general are being harmed by a lot of these rules and a lot of these circumstances that were not made aware up until a couple of months ago. And I think that we have to really focus our attention and really push members of Congress to get this stuff back on their radar, and then ask the right questions. We need the right questions asked. And Dave, I think you can piggyback off of that with me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I honestly, I do. I think this is. I've said it many times. I just think this is very exciting that people care, and that's the best part of all of this is that so many people care, and they're getting informed, and they're learning about markets and market structure, and they're discovering, a lot of corruption and a lot of problems, and they're discovering, people. There are a lot of people out there that are fighting it and trying to fix it, and so I think that. I still kind of can't overstate how meaningful it is that some of the things that came out in this case, in this hearing, are things that were denied and laughed at for the last decade. And here it's not only coming out, but even the lawyer for one of the firms who would have been
all right, people. Well, I'm gonna have to get
front
off.
and center for just belittling.
I'm gonna get off and then actually show you a couple of my. Go live intermission. Anyways, my chat isn't showing up. That's awesome. Anyways, I'm gonna get off here, and I'll be back on later on, probably around 5 Central Time, so that'll be 6 hours from now. And if you want to come back, hang out. I'm probably gonna try to listen in to more about that, and then play some games tonight. You guys, thank you for coming in. Thank you for